Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
No, I'm not Peyton Ansley John Milton. I'm the agent authorized to represent Peyton Ansley John Milton as written in all capital letters.
Thank you. And as to Mr. Milton, is there a conference concern or?
I am not represented by anybody besides myself. In my sovereign capacity, appreciate you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have an opportunity to speak to him. I read him the reports.
Who is him?
Don't interrupt.
Who is
I read him.
You just sit quietly.
Thank you.
I read him the report so that he will understand the charges against him. He didn't wish to hear anything more about his rights, and he does not wish to be represented.
All right, there we go. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. Good afternoon. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are getting set for part 2 of the Robert Tellis trial. It's the biggest part of the day. Normally what we have is we have the morning, and then right in the middle we have lunch, and then we have the afternoon. But here in Las Vegas, we have like a snippet in the morning, and we have lunch, and then we have the afternoon. So we expect to have a brief period of testimony, a break, another brief period of testimony, and then we'll call it dinner. And that's how we're going to end it. So we're going to continue the onslaught. I don't know what else to call this. The prosecution is dumping truckloads of evidence, convincing, compelling evidence at the feet of the defense table. And the defense, every single time after they're finished, they've making their presentation, they jump up, rearing ready to go to cross-examine the witness, and they get nothing. They get nowhere. And then they sit down, and then the prosecution does it again. And the last one, we basically just watched. We've extracted data from Mr. Tellis's cell phone. Okay, we're trying to pin this on him, right? If we're prosecutors, we're trying to say he was the guy. He did it. And so what do we do? Thanks to Celebrite, we've extracted data from his phone. We've extracted data from his computer. And what do we find? We find picture after picture after picture, weeks before the killing, of Mr. Tellis surveilling the victim's house. Standing on the side of the road, hidden behind a brick wall, taking pictures of every car that comes in and out of the neighborhood to try to make sure he knows who's who. Searches on the government systems, accessing the phone, the vehicle registrations. It's what? Yeah, there's only one thing to say. Let's see if we can. I can't even find it. My buttons are all gone. Yeah, this one.
What more do you need to see? Because he's the guy.
Right. This is a situation where I don't know why we are in trial. I don't know why we are here, other than possibly the entire defense. Normally you have a story and a theory of defense. I think their theory of defense is maybe in their exuberance to claim victory and run victory laps around the courthouse, waving flags and chanting, the prosecution just might trip over their own shoelaces and make a blunder so big that we'll get the Alec Baldwin effect, and we'll be able to get this case dismissed with prejudice. I don't know what else they could be hoping for, because this is crazy. This is a crazy case. Welcome everybody. I have to say, first of all, let's see. Why do we not get? Oh, I'm on the wrong chat. That's why. That was last thing's chat. This thing's chat is a different one. Let's pop it out, put it up here, make it bigger. There we go. Okay, the winner, first time ever. The winner is Sample User. Congratulations, Sample User. I believe this is Adam Nusky. Adam Nusky, Sample User. Congratulations, first in chat. You have won the internet, which is funny because when I first launched Lumia Stream to be able to share your comments on the live stream, it automatically populates with a sample user message, and that is what he's mimicked here. Adam, what is it? Impersonation is the highest form of flattery or something like that? Well, sample user is impressed. They are very impressed. Thank you very much. It's not on the screen. Is it now? Yes, it is. Okay, so sample user, congratulations. Adam, you have won once again. So glad you joined the show. Yes, thank you, Lois. A motion for directed verdict will be fun. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what will be hilarious is if they put in a lot of effort into the motion for directed verdict. I envision the judge looking incredulously at the lawyer and wondering sincerely, were you here for this trial? Did you participate? Were you listening to the evidence? This is crazy. This is crazy. All right, we're going to be coming back to court here in just a few moments. I think they're going to kick off the video feed. I think it starts at in 8 minutes, which means they're probably going to be late. Oh my goodness. You mean motion to dismiss? What did we say? Well, there's a couple things. There are a couple motions. There's a motion to dismiss and a judgment of acquittal. A judgment of acquittal is also sometimes called a directed verdict. There's also a JNOV, a judgment notwithstanding verdict. They're basically all mean the same thing. They're asking the judge at various points and for different reasons to stop. One is appropriate right as soon as the state rests. As soon as the state rests, that's appropriate. If defense puts on a self-defense claim and the state on rebuttal does not counter that, there might be an appropriate time for another motion. There's another motion at the end of the whole case. There's one after the verdict comes in, judgment notwithstanding the verdict. There are a couple times they can ask for it to be thrown out, not to mention the odd random call for mistrial anytime something doesn't go your way and you feel that injustice has been done. All right. I hope we have video somewhere, of somebody's house, of Mr. Tellis standing there on the street corner where the pigeon was sitting on the wall. It was a dove, where he's taking pictures of the cars. And the bird's like, look, you're here so often. I'm just going to hang out with you. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I think we have some court. Let's see, 8. Let's go back to this one. Supersource box source 8. It's 3. Change the background here. There we go. And audio. It's just hiss. Turn that down just a tiny bit, but we will keep listening just to make sure we don't miss a moment of this trial. All right, here we go. All right, what are your thoughts? Let's see. Krista, limited edition. Hey, Recovery Addict, changed my name for you. Krista, thank you. It's so much easier. Limited edition is, it just rolls off the tongue. Are seats not working? Oh, seats are working. They're working. It just takes a minute to fire up. I've stopped bouncing Lumia Stream, which is our usher that ushers people to their seats. I just leave it running, and it just takes a second to kick in. Might have well saved the money for his family and stayed pro se. Hey, Corey, I was thinking about this over lunch. It's funny you ask that. I made myself a delicious salad, first of all, and it was thank you, Self, for that salad. It was yummy. But I thought, what are the chances that once we get to the defense side of things, it becomes apparent that there might be a rift in the relationship between, say, defense and defendant? What are the chances at that point that defendant makes a mid-trial motion to go back to being pro se because he thinks he can do it better? I would say 50-50 at this point. I'd say 50-50. Jessica, hell people to you as well. Thank you very much. We love it. Love the joke. It was a typo at one point. Somebody came in, a very nice person came in and was trying to say hello, and they typed hell, and we thought it was hilarious. It could happen. It's a true narcissist for you. Might be correct. I'll put it on the bingo card because it's a possibility. Could become a one-man show. Am I in a motel room? No, I'm actually in an Airbnb. I could kick this. If I move that plug, I can kick the door shut. I'm in the master bedroom, which is, well, I'd show you, but I made a mess of the pillows, and Mrs. R.A. won't be happy. Where am I? There's a mirror. Oh, that's not it. There I am. I'm right here, controlling a pan tilt zoom. This is my studio. It's the master bedroom. But over here, oh, there's the light. Over here, there's the window. There's my view to the outside world, so I know that things are real. The clouds are beautiful today. Look at this. If I zoom in right up here, just like to look at the clouds some days. You know, watch the clouds go by. Got a little bit of leaf in there still. Beautiful shot. That's my view of the world. Well, at least the back of my head's view of the world had I leaned up against the window and squinted really hard. So we're at an Airbnb. We are on vacation out of town, out of North Carolina for about a month and a half. And let's see if we can do camera 6. 6 is cleaner. How's the video on 6? Good, yes, no, good, bad, indifferent. There we go. I think we have cleaner audio here. Let's see if it's synced up properly or if we have to match that up again. Let's see. Melissa, Matthew wants to know, is that just a light or a fan too? It is a light, it is a fan, and it's a Bluetooth speaker. And it's got like these little crystals that make it look like it might be a disco ball as well. But I'm not sure. How does Mrs. O'Reilly feel about going to bed in your broadcast studio each night? She actually suggested that I move in here because the room we were, the office, the Airbnb advertised they had, was no bueno. It was really bad. There was no space, there was no light. The lighting here is awful as well. I've got one of the bed lamps sitting up here providing a little bit of light. Okay, I might actually go out and get a ring light really quickly just to make the picture look better, move some things around. All right, this cloud view is remarkably entertaining. I think I might screenshot that. I mean, what do you guys see in those clouds? What shapes? I see a bald little man in handcuffs if you squint. Oh wait, that was the live stream. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Hey, Red Pen, I have the ring light at my house. Mathis says, I found a new way for Google to take my money. Nice. Please share. Please share. We're all looking for that. I see rain this afternoon. I see a shark. I see a beer and some wine. Okay, I guess I'll have to have a drink. It says on sub. Mighty Mouse. Let's see. Let's see. Someone next day ship art. No. I'm good. Don't you guys? You don't have my address, and I don't want you to have my address. But we're good on the lights. I have one at home. I don't have room. I kid you not. I do not have room to buy anything on this trip. Mrs. R.A. already went out and bought a bunch of books, which was not in the plan, and so any room that was available is now gone. I was on Amazon this morning, and the last piece of audio equipment I need for my audio travel box is on sale. It's like $60 off, so I was going to jump on that, but I don't even have room to store it here to take it back there. So can't do that. All right. I'm packed to the gills. The gills are packed wide open. Yes, it's loaded. You sure it's not a hidden camera? I'm pretty sure. It's actually a pretty expensive light. The lights are pretty nice, and they're in a couple rooms. The speaker's pretty good too. My kids use their little Kindle and connect the Kindle to the light so they can do audiobooks in their room. And just lay there and listen to audiobooks. Could this be the first trial for no poll on guilty and not guilty? No. We'll do one. Well, at the appropriate time, we'll do a poll. Laps are taken. I kid you not. The space is taken. The kids have a bag each of stuff, to keep them happy and entertained on the trip. Just mail it home when you leave. It will cost more to mail it than it would to buy a new one when I get home. It's pretty much going to be probably just dropped off at a thrift shop as a donation. You don't need a hidden camera in a room with 4 perfectly visible cameras. Yes. How many minutes till they actually start? That's a good guess. It's supposed to be 1 minute ago, but so far I'm seeing nothing on the feeds, which I am monitoring, the 3 that I'm monitoring. We did not take the cat with us. We left the cat with its other family as well. He has another family that feeds him and takes him to the vet and gets him chipped and things like that. So we thought it would be not appropriate for us to take their cat on our vacation. But we will share the cat when we're home. 6. Books could be mailed home, slow boat. Rent a second car. Kids can switch cars every so often. Then it's twice as much gas. It gets expensive on the trip. Mistrial says, RA, can the juror from the Benfield trial be punished for allegedly sending text messages out during deliberation? Yes. I believe that's a contempt of court. And I think it might even count as criminal. I think so. I think you could. The person who posted the information after receiving it, I don't know if anything can happen to him. Like the My Hoodie guy or whatever it was. I don't think anything can happen to him, although he might be brought in and questioned. Can you mail the kids home? Oh, there's something I need to look into. What is this? Can you make Swifty a deleted comment word on here, please? I'm sure Kaylee and Tisha would be okay with that. No, why would we delete Swifty? This court is always late. It's Las Vegas. I guess they have to walk by the casino in order to get to court, and so many people just get sucked in. Happens. He's in his 20s. He's in his 20s. Broadcast RV, tempted, not in the budget, Mike, unfortunately. They're not cheap. Although rental is a possibility, but then that won't have all the gear I need. Did you know you could send children through the mail in the early 1900s? I did know that. You can post your children to different places. They don't. I think they frown on that now. It might actually be illegal. Apparently, the My Hoodie guy was a suspicious, very new account. They're going to get to the bottom of that. But I mean, it's hard to deny that if these allegations are true, the My Hoodie guy in chat on the live stream, on the court live stream, had the correct information over and over and over as to what was about to happen before the court knew about it. That is some pretty compelling evidence when you start looking at juror misconduct. I imagine that My Hoodie guy is probably going to find out that he is going to receive a subpoena. Just got loud really fast. Eva popped on your For You page. It's noisy. Let's turn the sound way down. jump to.
Please remain seated and come to order. Court is now back in session.
Does the state stipulate to the purpose of the panel?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Detective Gaddis.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My first name is Justine, Justine.
Gotta fix that audio. That's terrible.
My last name is Gaddis, Gatus.
May proceed.
We're gonna fix that. That's not even listenable. We're backing up in time to fix things.
Please watch your step. And if you'll remain standing, raise your right hand and face the court.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My first name is Justine, Justine. And my last name is Gaddis, Gatus.
May I proceed? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you employed?
I am a homicide detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
How long have you worked for Metro total?
Total 17 years, and I've been a detective for 12. I've been in the homicide section for 6.
Okay. So you were working in the homicide section on September the 3rd of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe for the members of the jury how it is that homicide assignments for particular cases come about? Like, what is the rotation?
And that's exactly what it is. It's literally a rotation. We have 4 squads. There's 6 people on each squad, and it just goes through basically 12 different teams as the days go by. And it's just whoever catches the next case.
So there's no way of knowing ahead of time when you're going to catch a particular homicide?
No, ma'am.
And it's random who's assigned to a particular case?
And it sticks in the rotation form. Yeah.
Okay. So you had no way to pre-assign yourself to the investigation of Jeffrey Gehrman?
That's correct.
You just happened to be the team that was up on the 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you got that case, can you describe for the members of the jury how it is that detectives in homicide are notified to respond to a particular location?
So we get phone calls or texts, actually pretty regularly. But that day in particular, it was I think probably just a text message. They send us an address and an event number, and that's it. We show up at the address, and then we get a briefing from the patrol officers, and they give us a general background of what they have so far with their preliminary investigation.
Okay. And so on the 3rd, you would have responded to Bronze Circle?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's 7216 Bronze Circle?
That is correct.
I'm putting on the overhead what's been admitted, State's Exhibit 4. Does that appear to be the location that you responded to?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you respond by yourself, or did other detectives come with you?
No, my team. We all go together as a team.
Okay. And the team would include like a lieutenant, a sergeant, and...
That is correct.
And
if there's 6 detectives that are available, all 6 of us go. Sometimes people are off or on vacation, but then our chain of command, so our sergeant and then our lieutenant.
Okay. And when you first get there, I think you mentioned that you're briefed by patrol detectives. Is that correct?
Yes. On this one, it was patrol detectives who briefed us.
Okay.
Is that a fleur de
And then
lis
after you
on
get
her
a
necklace?
briefing, what do the homicide detectives do after that?
We pretty much assign jobs out. Being the lead case agent, we know our responsibilities, and that's basically to document the scene along with the crime scene analyst. The rest of the members of the team will have them go look for video surveillance, go try to find witnesses, just knock doors and see who can find to talk to.
Okay. So you were the primary?
Yes, ma'am.
So that meant you stayed at the scene with the crime scene analyst?
Yes.
When you walk, I assume at some point you walked the scene?
Correct.
And did you go inside the house as well?
Yes, ma'am.
When you did sort of perimeter view of that scene, did you see any signs of forced entry or anything that caused you concern that the inside of that house might have been compromised?
No.
The scene's primarily on the left side of the house on the side yard?
The west side, yes.
Okay. When you went to the scene, I assume it was roped off by patrol officers?
Crime scene tape was up, yes.
Prior to your arrival?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm going to put on the overhead now State's Exhibit 10. You recognize that photo, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's Mr. Gehrman?
That's correct.
As he appeared at the scene when you get there on the 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you arrived at the homicide scene, were you familiar with who he was?
No.
Okay. Did at some point in the investigation you learned that, oh, he's a local reporter and kind of well known?
Yep. That day, actually, one of the neighbors told somebody on our squad or somebody in the patrol section that he was a reporter for the RJ, so we did know that day.
Okay. And when you observed Mr. Gehrman at the scene itself, did you take note of items of property that were on his person?
Yes, I did.
And what did you take? What was on him?
He still had his car keys. He had money. He had his phone. There was, most valuable things that people generally keep with them. He had.
Okay. And I'm putting on the overhead States 41. Does that appear to be the keys?
Yes, ma'am.
And his car was where at the scene?
It was in the garage.
Okay. And this is States 43. Can you tell what that is there?
I think, is that part of the wallet?
Yeah. And this is a better photo, States 46.
Yes.
And his wallet had cash in it?
Yes, it did.
And then I think you said he also had his phone on him as well?
Correct.
And this is States 40.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of his valuables are on his person, is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
When you took note of him, though, I assume you're not touching the body and you're wearing gloves and that whole thing?
Right. We don't touch the body at all until the coroner investigators, that's their job.
Okay. But did you note or could you see that there were sharp force injuries or some type of injuries on his person?
Yes.
And that was probably readily apparent at the scene?
Yes.
I think you described that you don't touch the body until coroner investigators come to the scene as well?
Correct.
And they arrive because they have kind of concurrent jurisdiction with homicide detectives over an individual who has been murdered. Is that true?
Over any person, anybody that has died, the coroner investigators, they basically have jurisdiction over the body.
Okay,
we have the scene, but they have the human.
And so when they before homicide could move a body, the coroner's investigators have to arrive as well, and everybody has to kind of assess the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, though, obviously, an individual who's deceased is removed from the scene. Is that correct?
Correct.
May I push the witness, Robin? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as states for proposed 352. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes, I do.
Does that appear to be a photo of the scene once Mr. Gehrman's body has been removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction?
Yes, it is.
State moves to admit 352.
No objection.
May I publish it, Your Honor? Thank you. I'm going to publish what's been admitted as States 352. Can you, I think there's a mouse in front of you. Yes. Can you just, it's probably obvious, but circle for the jury where it was that Mr. Gehrman's body was laying?
Well, so he was actually laying all the way across like this, but his upper torso area was over here where that dark staining is, which was blood. And
that was blood?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, well, you stay at the scene with the crime scene analyst. Our other detectives, I think you said, go and look for video in the area?
That is correct.
After you clear the scene and some video has been collected, does yourself and other detectives compile some information to be put out by Metro in a sort of a public information forum?
Yes, we did.
And do you recall what date it was that those images were released to the public?
The first date was Monday, the 5th of September, 2022. And then we did an additional press release the following day, which would have been, I think it was Tuesday, the 6th.
Okay,
of 2022.
And those would have included images of the suspect and also the suspect vehicle?
Correct.
Could you switch me over? And I'm going to show you a video. This has been admitted as States 338.
Is that 338?
Yes.
That would be the video of him walking, right? There it is. Yeah.
And do those appear to be the images, or at least some of the images that were used by Metro in conjunction with releasing information about the crime?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, after that was released, do yourself and other detectives get tips from the public, people saying who this might be?
Yes, we did. We received emails, phone calls. There was Crime Stopper tips that came in. We did receive many tips.
And did some of the tips suggest to you that you should consider Robert Tellis as a suspect?
That is correct.
After you get his name as a potential suspect, do you do some research with regard to his relationship to Jeffrey Gehrman?
Yes, I did.
And what do you find out, or what do you discover?
I found several articles that Jeffrey Gehrman wrote about Rob Tellis. They weren't flattering.
They were not flattering.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? Thank you. Having shown defense counsel what's been marked as state's proposed 353, 353A, 353B, 353C, 353D, 353E, and 353F. Do you recognize all those items?
Yes, ma'am.
Do they depict some of the articles and social media commentary between Robert Tellis and Jeffrey Gehrman?
Yes, they are.
State moves to admit 353A through F?
And outside of what was previously addressed, we have no opposition.
Thank you.
Articles are admitted now.
I'm going to put on the overhead what's been admitted as states 353.
Now their evidence.
Does that appear to be one of the articles that was written
In a rare
about
move, consultant hired
Mr.
to
Tellis
resolve
by
turmoil
Mr. Gehrman?
in
Yes,
county
ma'am.
office.
And that was on May the 26th of 2022?
Correct.
Can you just read us the headline?
In a rare move, consultant hired to resolve turmoil in county office.
I just said that.
And I'm now going to put on the overhead states 353A. Appear to be another article.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the date on that one?
Is May 16th, 2022.
And what's the headline on that one?
County office in turmoil with secret video and claims of bullying and hostility.
And now I'm going to put on the overhead states 353B.
That one's dated June 18th, 2022, and it's titled Embattled County Official Losing Re-Election Bid Posts Angry Letter.
That's a good one.
And this is states 353C.
And the same another article written by Jeff Gehrman dated June 22nd, 2022. Embattled County Official Concedes Race Remains Combative.
Now, I think you said in a couple of questions ago there were also social media posts that you discovered in your investigation?
Yes, there were.
I'm putting on the overhead states 353D. Do these appear to be posts by Mr. Tellis?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
And it looks like this one at the top here is dated 6/18/22.
Correct.
Can you read it?
Wife hears rustling in the trash. Her, honey, is there a wild animal in the trash? Me, no dear. Looks like it's at J. Gehrman, RJ, going through our trash for his fourth story on me. Oh, Jeff, and a laughy emoji.
Okay. And the rest of the text, it sort of compares or suggests that I left a pizza box and a sushi container in the trash. The next thing I'm going to have like sort of criminal organization ties.
Correct.
And then not the last one, but the second to last one on that page, I think on 6/25/22. Can you read that one?
Typical bully, can't take a pound of criticism after slinging 100 pounds of BS. Up to article number 4 now. You'd think he'd have better things to do.
And then this last one on the page, which is also on 618.
That one says, looking forward to lying smear piece number 4 by @JGermanRJ, #OneTrickPony. I think he's mad that I haven't crawled into a hole and died.
Now putting on the overhead what's been admitted as States 353E. Looks like some more social media posts.
Yes, ma'am.
And that one is from June the 17th of 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what does that one say?
It says, does the @LVRJ know that @JGermanRJ may be doing double duty on their dime? Do they know that he basically made a veiled threat to take me down, or take down my site, with the truth after I had already lost the election?
And then there's like a screenshot, I guess, of
text messages.
Of
yes.
messages between himself and Gehrman.
That is correct.
And at least can you see all of that one, where Gehrman responds?
Yes.
What does that say?
In the long response there? Yeah. It says, Rob, I'm putting together another story on your office. This has to do with the letter you posted on your campaign website addressing the hostile work allegations. Employees view that as a threat of retaliation and have reported it to Human Resources. I would like to get your comments on that, as well as your take on the election results so far. I would need something from you this afternoon.
Okay. And are you also aware of a letter that Mr. Tellis posted on his website, sort of answering some of the things that were alleged in those articles?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me see if I can get that. Sarah, did you already do that? Okay. Does that appear to be the letter?
Correct.
And this is, for the record, 338?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And that was posted on Mr. Tellis's website?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a Wayback Machine for saving
I think it was his campaign website.
Campaign website. And I'm sorry, but could you switch it back over? Thank you. I'm going to put on the overhead States 353F. Is this a non-moving version of that letter?
That appears so, yes.
Okay. And fair to say the letter disputes several of the allegations that Mr. Gehrman wrote about in his articles?
That's correct.
Now, you do research and you learn about the kind of tension between Mr. Gehrman and Mr. Tellis. Do you also, in the course of the investigation, learn that of any more information about the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
And do you learn that Mr. Tellis's wife has a Yukon Maroon in the same type and model as is seen in the video around Bronze Circle?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, at some point, is there an effort made to gather a lot of video?
Yeah, yes, there was.
And can you kind of describe what that process was that that detectives and yourself went to get that level of video?
So with this, actually, we ended up kind of employing other patrol detectives to help us because it was that extensive. Typically, we go to the last place that we know that either the image of the vehicle or the image of the person was seen, and we almost kind of like just leapfrog down the street. We'll make a game plan ahead of time, even just knowing major cross streets, if there's businesses there, businesses that we've pulled video from before, so sometimes we have like previous contacts to where we can just make phone calls, but a lot of the time it's literally walking the street, driving the street, and just leapfrogging after each other to follow whatever we're looking for, whether it's a person or a vehicle.
And in this case, quite a bit of video was gathered?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Detective Mogg sort of take control of the video, essentially, and start compiling it in a chronological manner?
Yes.
Now, on September the 5th, did you learn something in terms of forensic evidence that you had in this case?
We did. We learned.
What was that?
That there was a foreign DNA detected under Jeff German's fingernails.
At that time, did you know who that foreign DNA belonged to?
No, they ran it in the systems, our local and I think state CODIS system, and it returned with negative results.
And those are databases with known DNA profiles in them?
Correct.
And so you had requested that foreign DNA be run in those databases, but there was no response or no match?
Correct.
So once you have that foreign DNA, do you draft a search warrant in order to get a DNA sample from Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And that was based on sort of the video evidence that kind of tracked a Yukon going to Mr. Gehrman's residence and then back in the area of Mr. Tellis's neighborhood?
Yes.
And as well as other facts that you had developed in the case in terms of their tense relationship and the fact that he had that kind of Yukon?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you drafted that search warrant, do you recall, like, was it day, night, or when you got that signed?
That would have been in the 2 o'clock hour, in the like 0200 hours on September 6th, 2022. With investigations like this, we typically work very, very, very long hours. So I know we had been there all day and all throughout the night. Now it's about 2 o'clock in the morning when I was able to complete the search warrant and send it off to get signed.
And when you say get signed, who reviews that?
A district attorney reviews it, and then a district court judge reviews them.
And so without a judge signing off on it, you're unable to complete a search?
Correct.
The search for September 7th, was that for Mr. Tellis's house to get a DNA sample and also to collect his phone?
Yes, it was.
Okay. At some point, do you learn that Mr. Tellis has been pulled over on September the 7th?
Yes, and that was the same morning. I think I misspoke a moment ago and said the 6th, but it was into the 7th of the morning.
To be clear, the warrant signed at like 2 in the morning on the 7th?
Correct.
And then he's pulled over to effectuate that warrant about 5 hours later?
About, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as states 214 through 216. Just tell me if you recognize those.
Yes, ma'am.
Do those appear to be pictures of the area where Mr. Tellis was pulled over on the morning of September the 7th?
Correct, it is.
State moves to admit 214 through 216.
No objection.
I'm putting on the overhead states 214. That appears to be the car. Is that the car that Mr. Tellis was driving that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it patrol officers that pull him over?
Correct.
Where are you when they pull him over?
Asleep.
At your house?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get a notification that he's been pulled over?
Correct.
And what do you do?
I got in my car and drove out to the intersection that he was stopped at.
Okay. When you get to that intersection, do you try to make contact with Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And did you record your conversations with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you explain to him that you had a search warrant for his DNA?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell him that you were going to go get or have someone get him a copy of the warrant so he could have it?
Correct.
At some point, do you explain to him that you'll be taking photographs of him without his clothing on and suggest that you go to a different location?
Correct. I didn't want to do that on the side of the road.
Okay. And is the location that you agreed to with Mr. Tellis the Summerlin Area Command?
That is correct.
When you are going to the Summerlin Area Command, do you arrange for a crime scene analyst to come and take that buccal swab and also take photographs of Mr. Tellis?
Yes, I did.
And was that Jennifer Manning?
Correct.
You go, I assume, to Summerlin Area Command with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And does Ms. Manning show up, take photographs, and take a sample from him?
Yes.
Now, once you have that DNA sample, had you made any kind of arrangements for the DNA to be tested kind of immediately?
We did. We asked CSA Manning just to drive directly back to the lab to give it to the forensic scientists.
And is that Is that unusual to have like a sample taken and DNA turned around that fast?
Oh, yes. I've never seen one come back that fast.
Okay. And that was because this is sort of a dynamic investigation, so
Absolutely.
It needed to be a priority?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, while you're collecting, you're sort of there, but the crime scene analyst is collecting the buccal swab and the clothing, were other detectives effectuating a search warrant at Mr. Tellis's house?
Yes.
And that house is on Spanish Steps?
Correct.
This really frustrates him.
What's been admitted as States 217.
He's
I know
mad
you
because
weren't
they did
doing
that
the
search without
warrant,
him
but do you
there.
recognize that location?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That is Mr. Tejas' house.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just zoom in. Do you see security cameras on his house?
Yes, I do.
Could you circle them with your mouse?
Right over here.
Okay. So those are present on the day of the search warrant, which is the 7th?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to put on the overhead what's been admitted as States 348.
Lynn, thank you very much. Congratulations on 9 months.
And do you recognize that location?
Yeah, that's the same house.
Okay. Do you see whether or not there are security cameras there?
And there are not.
Okay. The surveillance photos that I just had up, those were taken on September the 1st?
That last one, yes, I believe so.
Okay. After collecting samples and clothing from Mr. Tellis, do yourself and Detective Jappy take him back to his residence at some point?
Yes, we did later that afternoon.
Okay. Now, while you're still at Summerlin Area Command, do other detectives advise you of items that were found in the course of the search warrant?
Yes, I was getting updates throughout the day.
What sort of items were noteworthy that you recall that they found?
They called and told me that they found a pair of cut-up tennis shoes that looked like what the suspect was wearing on the video that we'd collected. They said that they had also located a satchel shoulder bag that looked the same as what was seen on the suspect. And there was a hat. It was a straw hat. Then they said that also had been cut up in numerous pieces as well. So
you kind of knew that at some point while you're at the Summerlin Area Command?
Yes, I did.
Now, and at some point you and Detective Jappy take Mr. Tellis back to his house?
Yes, ma'am.
And he's free to go back in his house?
Correct.
At the time he was free to go back in his house, did you have any DNA confirmation results yet?
No.
How long after you let him go back in his house do you think you got the...
Less than an hour.
Okay. At that point, is a determination made we're going to arrest him?
Correct.
When Mr. Tellis was in the house and ultimately officers go in and take custody of him and he's injured himself, are you present for any of that?
I was not.
Where were you at the time that was going on?
After I dropped him off at his home, Mr. Tejas, I took Detective Jappy back to his vehicle, which was at Summerlin Area Command, and then I drove to Metro Headquarters. With what we had found at the house that day, I was preparing arrest paperwork for Mr. Tejas, so I drove back to the office to start my declaration of arrest.
Okay.
Melissa, congratulations on 9 months.
Because you have to write a report or a declaration of arrest in order to effectuate an arrest?
Correct.
Okay. So at some point after he's taken into custody, you got that phone that belonged to him. That was taken from him on September the 7th as well.
His phone, it was inside the Tesla.
Okay.
That was at the traffic stop, and so we did a follow-up search warrant for that to get the phone. Yes.
So you did a follow-up warrant getting judicial authorization to go into that phone. Did you also do another search warrant on September the 8th? At an office.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes. That was at the public administrator's office.
And that was the offices of where Mr. Tellis was working?
Correct.
And was a computer collected on the 8th as well?
There was several.
Defense
Now,
defense doesn't know they can object to leading statements. That's why they're not.
Detective, or may I put Your Honor? Thank you. Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as States 355. Do you recognize what this is?
Yes, I do.
Was there an accent there? Yes, I do.
Is it labeled an extraction report?
It is.
And is it a report that came from a download of Mr. Tellis's phone?
Yes.
State moves to admit 355.
No objection.
And this includes messaging between Mr. Tellis and Mr. Gehrman?
This is really hard to read. It's light blue on blue and dimly lit.
To page 4.
Help yourself to the water, ma'am. It's free today only.
Can you see that on your screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. The date of that message is what?
May 15th, 2022.
Okay. And so it kind of corresponds with one of the news articles? Is that yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what does it say?
It says that I don't know what to say. I told you about how much this has all impacted me. You heard from employees who are being harassed by these people. Provided you proof that I was doing my best to actually smooth things over after I had to make hard decisions, still you wrote an article that makes it sound like I'm the guilty one. That was not fair or balanced.
And then there's another message here in the middle.
He says, I'm very distraught right now. Clearly there are typos in my message.
And then there's one towards the bottom.
Yeah, and it's still the same day, May 15th, 2022. It says, I've done so much for that office. I told you that I've been followed and that I caught Rita following me. You decided to take it on her word that she wasn't. However, clearly she was. It seems to me that you valued sensationalism or the value of a potential takedown than actually telling the truth. Thank you for helping him to drop more pressure on my life.
Was there a digital version of one of the articles that Mr. Gehrman wrote about Mr. Tellis?
What do you mean a digital version?
Like a version that had an attached
a video clip, yes.
Okay.
Corey, good job getting the objection in.
And sorry, Sarah, but could you move us over? Thank you.
The Clark County Public Administrator's Office has been mired in turmoil and internal dissension.
This is the story from the RJ.
With workers claiming emotional stress, bullying, and favoritism. Robert Tellis, who leads the office, has also faced allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a coworker, Roberta Lee Kennett. In an interview with investigative reporter Jeff Gehrman, Tellis disputed several complaints.
What is your reaction to the allegations from these employees that you have created a hostile environment in this office?
Yeah, I earlier introduced you to the other 7 team members, and they're folks who all come with a great attitude, and they work hard. And together, them and I, we're what is making the difference with the performance of this office. I've tried my best to try to make everyone happy, but it's got to be within a certain framework. People just cannot get to do whatever they want, and it's unfortunate that, we've got some people who were here from before who were basically trying to railroad me, and again, you met those other folks, they're happy, they're dedicated, and we're just here to do a good job.
Tellis, who's up for re-election in the June primary, blames a handful of old-timers for claims about a hostile environment in the office.
Again, no matter what type of gestures I try to make to smooth things over, to make sure that they're happy, they just don't, it's nonstop. And again, like I said, it's hard for me to make sure that I am a cheerleader for the folks who are doing really good work when I've got these other folks who are
Tellez denied allegations of any improper relationship with Lee Kennett.
When you hear people making these allegations personal relationship, what do you say to people about that?
Honestly, it's not true. I said, all of my friends, all my family know how much I love my wife. And if you look at, obviously you can't talk to the people that do us on a daily basis. But from my social media, from everything, you can see that I am about nothing but justice, fairness, and just being a good person. And it sickens me, it destroys me that somebody would even level accusations like that, because I don't know, it's unreal. It's unreal the lengths that they're going to. They don't have any qualms trying to ruin my personal life to win this race.
Wow.
The Clark County Public Administrator's Office had...
It's quite the story. You got the interview. Video shows Clark County Public Administrator in staffer's car. Roberta Lee Kennett can be seen in the back seat with Tellez. Whoa. That's not an Uber. I believe that's her car. Tellez and Lee Kennett have denied allegations they have an inappropriate relationship. Both are married, not to each other. Yes, Mindy Lou, brown chicken, brown cow. Oh, they weren't together because they got out on opposite sides of the car. Oopsie. Kaylee, no, this does not add to the body count. Axe casual. You guys are funny. This is the video that the Las Vegas Review-Journal posted on their website, and to go along with these stories to support the allegations that there was an inappropriate relationship going on at the office. They're probably just taking some work home, I think, was what was happening. Who took this video?
And for the record, that video was from States 338. So if I could flip back over and put on States 355 again. These messages where he says Mr. Tellez says he's distraught and the article wasn't fair, those appear to be in response to that published article?
Correct.
Now, you, fair to say, went through a lot of aspects of Mr. Tellez's phone. Is that accurate?
Yes,
did you look at his search history of news articles?
Yes, I did.
And generally, were there searches regarding Mr. Gehrman and himself?
Yes, there were.
This is States 356. And that's part of the search criteria, Jeffrey Gehrman, Las Vegas?
Correct.
And so you would have noted that as you examined the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also look to the phone to see if you could find items of clothing?
Yes, I did.
I'm putting on the overhead states 360. Do you recognize, well, it's been admitted as 360.
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, I do.
Is that
The
an
shoe.
extraction report from Mr. Tellis's phone?
That's correct.
And what are those thumbnail pictures that we see?
Like, what is the actual image of?
Yep.
It is an image of a gray Nike shoe with the black and white on it. There's also a rock climbing shoe in that image, and it looks like an ankle and a sock, like as if somebody was just switching out their shoes.
And that was found in Mr. Tellis's phone?
Correct.
And does this appear to be a bigger version than the thumbnail version?
Yes.
Now, why was that significant?
Because those suspect wore as he was walking in the neighborhood on video.
Okay. And those shoes were they found somewhere too?
That is correct.
Where were they
Our
found?
audio's terrible.
Those shoes were found inside Brock Tejas' house, and one of them was cut up into pieces.
And this is states 228. That appears to be the shoe?
Yes, ma'am.
And those were tested for DNA as well, correct?
Correct.
Now,
Internet problems. Trying to get the audio fixed, guys.
did Mr. Tellis take screenshots of articles written by Mr. Gehrman?
Yes, he did.
And were those stored on his phone as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing... May I approach, Your Honor? Mm-hmm. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Proposed 359. Ask you to look through that.
I should have worn my glasses today.
Do you want mine?
No, that's okay. I can see, yeah. Yes, I recognize them.
Okay. Is that another extraction report from Mr. Tellis's phone?
It is.
And does it contain screenshots of the articles written by Mr. Gehrman about him?
Yes.
State moves to admit 359.
And just so we're clear, this is a paper version, just previously addressed on the video or part of that larger exhibit.
It's not. It probably is on the video, but not in
I thought it was. Okay, we have no objection.
Okay, thank you. I'm putting on the overhead states 359. That's the extraction report, and then we see the thumbnails of the screenshots.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to flip to the end because it's easier to see. It's a bigger version of the thumbnails that were stored on his phone of these articles.
Yes.
And it's the articles Mr. Gehrman wrote about him, about kind of turmoil at the public administrator's office.
Yes, that's correct.
Did you also find information indicating that Mr. Tellis was following kind of the fallout, I guess we should say, of the articles on social media?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? Mm-hmm. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Proposed 362.
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
I do.
Does that appear to be screenshots of some of the back and
Conversations?
forth after
Yes.
the article ran?
Yes, ma'am.
State moves to admit 362.
We have no objection.
And I think we'll do this one.
This is our 28th witness in this trial already. Been going through them really fast.
What does that screenshot say?
That was a screenshot that I found on Mr. Tejas' phone. It says, push news articles down. That was the search, and then the first thing that populates is how to push a negative search result down, 4 steps to bury them.
Okay, 4 steps to bury
the article.
Negative search results?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just do another one. This is a screenshot of a social media post that's sort of critical of Mr. Tellis?
Correct.
I've got to follow that guy, Chill Pill.
And that's the same poster, or the same
Pill
tag
711.
name, the Chill Pill.
Okay, and then another one by that same person?
Yes, ma'am.
Another one?
Correct.
And this is all on Mr. Tellis's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
This next image, and for the record, this is all from States 354, appears to be a conversation back and forth between Mr. Tellis and John Cahill.
Correct.
About stuff going on at the office.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Tellis is responding on social media about the articles.
That's correct.
Hasn't posted in a year or two.
Now, you also, I think, searched Mr. Tellis's work computer.
Yes, I did.
So, may I publish, because this one's already admitted, Your Honor. This is States 357. I'm going to show you the bigger images. But do you recognize what that is?
I do.
What is that?
Those are screenshots that I found of, they were on Mr. Tejas' phone of the desktop computer.
Okay. And I'm going to flip to some of the larger images that are attached to States 357. These appear to be searches associated with Mr. Gehrman.
Correct. It has his name on there.
Okay. Do you know what IDI Core is?
I do.
What is that?
It is a, how do I explain it? So like for us, for the police department, we use a program called Accurate. IDI Core is very similar to Accurate, in which both of them, you can search people, you can find relatives, associates, prior addresses, additional phone numbers.
It's a people finder.
Some of them you can even find email addresses, things like that, basically to try to either locate people or locate family of people. I think basically the only difference is that the IDI Core is, we buy licenses. So if that public entity, being like the PA's office or the coroner's office or the police department, they want to buy one over the other. It's just basically the fee of the license that they're willing to pay for, I think. But both of them do the same, very similar functions.
Identifying locations, someone's residence,
yes,
their vehicle, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Sort of personal information about that person.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that was found on Mr. Tellis's phone as well?
Yes.
How about images of Bronze Circle? Did you find that on his phone?
I did.
Lots of images of houses on Bronze Circle.
Yes, I'm just looking for it.
I guess everyone was surveilling everyone else in Las Vegas at this time. Coworkers, police, victims, reporters.
So what are we looking at? And for the record, this is States 354.
So the street here below is, the street is Bronze Circle. The house to the left with like the pinkish in color is Mr. Gehrman's house.
And how many images do you think you saw of Bronze Circle and the surrounding area?
Oh, I would be good saying about 50 at least.
Okay, let's go through. And was it just all around the cul-de-sac?
Yes.
And do you recall the date of those images?
Ooh, I don't off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you could refresh my memory.
On the overhead, the extraction report. This is States 363.
The sound's getting out of sync. I'm going to adjust it here when I get a second.
I can see it.
Okay.
It
What
says
does it say?
August 12th, 2022.
Okay. And those were when all of those images at least were modified, or there's some indication they were modified in the phone on August the 12th?
Correct.
How about images that were taken of like random cars?
Yes. Yes.
Let me find those. And for the record, this is still on State's proposed Exhibit 354.
The lady in red behind the defense is Vanessa Murphy. She's on Twitter. She's a local reporter if you want to follow her. She's with the CBS affiliate station. Vanessa_Murphy is her handle.
I'll put it on this way. Sorry, Sarah. This is State's 364.
I recognize it.
And there were how many images in this extraction report?
I think it was almost a couple hundred.
Okay. And when you saw
need
those
some
on the
WD-40
phone,
for that door.
let's check the date. Do you see the date for them?
I do. It's August 15th, 2022.
Okay. And what did you do when you saw all of those images of all these street views?
I started talking to all the people in my bay, the other detectives that sit near me. It just looked really odd to me, so I just kind of started grabbing people like, hey, what do you think this is? Where do you think it's at? And a few of us sat there and tried to figure out where the images were taken from.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to pin it down.
How were you able to pin it down? What did you do?
So looking at the images, we could see that there was like a street sign kind of in the far distance, and you could tell that it was a long name. You could also see a lot of the foliage from the houses. You could see some mountains in the background. So just talking about it in general, it was, okay, well, I know this isn't going to be northwest because the foliage it's too grown, it's too mature. So, and it's got this portion of a mountain in it. So we basically just narrowed it down by sections of town and what mountain we thought that was in the background. And then one of the guys, he hit it on the head with the street. He finally got to the street. After that, I drove out to the street and sat in the same position to where I could tell that the photographs were from, and confirmed that that's where the photographs were taken.
Please tell me you took a picture there.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Proposed 365. It's actually a couple pages, so if you could look through all three of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize those photographs on that map?
I do.
And are they related to those street images that we were just discussing?
They are.
Defense wants to see them.
And State moves to admit 365?
We don't have an objection.
So you said you went to the location?
I did.
I'm putting on the overhead the first page of State's 365. And what are we looking at there?
So on the far left of the screen, it has the address, the 7216 Brown Circle, which was Jeff German's address. Mm-hmm. And then the address to the far right of the screen with the red pin drop is 6121 Vegas Drive, which is right at the intersection of Vegas and North Jones Boulevard.
So where I'm pointing with my pen, that's Mr. German's house?
Correct.
And this red pin drop is where you determined that those photos were taken from?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take other photos to kind of demonstrate that that was the correct vantage point?
I did.
And let me flip to the second page of 365. Can you kind of orient the members of the jury, like what they should be looking at to know that that series of images,
this is a Popeyes.
like this is the location?
So this is it's a Popeyes restaurant there at the corner of Vegas and Jones. This directional view is facing west. And so this is Vegas Oak Drive over here, just beyond that wall. And it's this section of the wall that has the cinder block is cut at an angle that's very distinctive, and that's in many of the photos from that area.
And I'm going to flip to the last page of 365.
So he loitered at the Popeyes to
What
take
are we
pictures?
looking at there?
That's the Google Street View of that area. So the Popeyes is over here. That's the sign. And then that wall that I'm talking about is there. And there's also a power box that's down here a little bit kind of under a tree.
Okay. And then going back to the first page of 365, that's just like the main street out of Mr. Garman's house?
That's correct.
Now I want to move to what's been admitted as States 354. I'll just pick one of these at random.
That's why the bird was at Popeyes, because it was waiting for somebody to throw it like a piece of biscuit or something.
Thank you. Can you orient us looking at this shot, kind of what you just explained in terms of how you know this is the location?
Yes. So that cinder block wall is there on the bottom left portion of the screen. And you can see the power box down there on the ground as well. So when I was personally sitting in the Popeyes parking lot and turned westbound, that's the exact image that I saw.
And so you documented all those images in 365 in order to compare them later to the images we see from Mr. Tellis's phone from, it looks like 8/8 of 2024?
Correct. Oh, that 8/8 is not the date that image was taken.
Oh, that's right. It was 8/15, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Of 2022.
Yes, of 2022. And that would just be another image?
Correct. There was numerous that were just like that.
Another one?
Correct.
Another one?
Yes.
Watch for the bird.
Same.
Okay. And all of them appeared to have that center block wall, so you were able to orient the photo?
Yes, ma'am. And if the wall wasn't there for some reason, then we were still able to compare it to the trees and the wall in the background and the mountain in the background, that it was still the same location.
Okay. Now, during the course of your investigation, did you also hear 2 recordings taken from Mr. Garman's phone?
I did, yes.
And were they like sort of threatening audio recordings?
Yeah. Yes.
What...
Are they going to play him again?
What steps did you take in terms of following up on those?
So the recordings themselves that were in Mr. Garman's phone just show that they were audio files. They sound like they're voicemails, but I don't believe that they are voicemails received into that phone. I think it's maybe as if he checked his office voicemail or something, and that's how it came in through the phone. But so I listened to both of those. Neither of them really, they don't identify Mr. Garman by name. They just seem very angry and like they're ranting about something. So I started going back on Mr. Garman's, or looking back at his news articles that he wrote to see if there was anything that coincided right around the same time that the voicemails were received. And I didn't find anything.
And so the sort of the date that's marked in the phone for the voicemails, well, actually, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
The marble-covered laptop right there, the user of that laptop only uses the mouse. I don't think she ever types.
I'm showing you what's been marked as States Proposed 366. Do you recognize what that is?
I think those are the let me see the dates. 2/18/20. Yeah, those are the voicemails.
Okay, so this appears to be an extraction report from Mr. Garman's phone, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
No longer talking about Mr. Tellis's phone.
Correct.
And we've been talking about 2 kind of angry audio files on his phone.
Yes.
I'm going to move to admit States 366.
No objection.
I want to hear who it was from.
So looking at these files. It looks like there's a creation date and a modified date.
Correct.
And what is the creation date?
For the first audio file, it's going to be February 24th, 2022 at 12:13 p.m.
And for the second one?
It's February 18th, 2022 at 12:11 p.m. So just 6 days prior.
Okay. And so this would have been 7 months before the murder of Mr. Gehrman?
Yes.
Assuming that they're not assuming they're not older files. This is when the audio file was created.
Correct.
Now, on one of them, was there content in the body of the audio file that caused you to do some research about a possible article that Mr. Gehrman wrote?
Yes.
That might be associated with the call?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as Facebook Post 367. Does that appear to be the first page of a news article?
It does, yes.
And can you see the date on it?
It's February 22nd, but 2021, so a year prior.
Okay. Is this an article that you found in order to see if it correlated with one of those audio files?
Correct.
State moves to admit 367.
No objection.
And I'm publishing that for is that okay, Your Honor, if I publish it? Yeah. Thank you. And I just want to note for members of the jury that we have the date of February the 22nd of 2021. The headline on this article is Emerging Extremists Bring New Concerns for Law Enforcement. Why did that article or why did that topic catch your attention as a detective in terms of like the content of the audio file?
The person that was just yelling into the phone was, I guess I would say, I would put it on the extremist level. I don't really know how to explain that. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, no, it's
We'll
probably
just play
a
the tape.
question.
That'll
So
explain itself.
in those audio files that appear to be aggressive or threatening, did one of them sort of refer to Biden and the election?
Yeah, it was more so like political affiliation and being angry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then based on that, did you try to research any articles that Jeff Gehrman had written about political extremists and that sort of thing?
Yes.
And this is the
one
article?
of the article, yeah.
And the article you found is from 2021?
Correct.
Thank you. I will pass the witness.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Defense is like, yes, we're going to jump up on this and we're going to whiff once again.
Yeah. Yes. We're going to set something up. Okay.
We're going to set something up like my client was set up in this case.
Oh, sure.
Are they going to play? Are they going to play the audio? They might play the audio. You guys, buckle up. Cover the children's ears. This is not for little ones to hear. If they play this audio, it's going to be spicy.
You know, we have a drive that we're going to have marked admitted in by stipulation.
Yes.
But we're going to play it first while we're setting it up. We'll give it to the clerk following. Why don't we make this W? It would be Defense Exhibit W. Just get it set up. Yeah, Detective, what I'm going to do is I'm going to direct your attention to these messages that were left. And we don't know for sure whether they were left on Mr. Gehrman's cell phone or not. Obviously, they're tied to his cell phone.
That's correct, yes.
Fair to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, count the curse words. But don't say anything until it's done. Just count in your head.
And this was the
Stop lying to people. Whoever the guy was that wrote that article the other day, you need to fire his ass. Stop lying to people. We're coming for your ass. We are watching you motherfuckers. You better fire that son of a bitch. I'm coming down there tomorrow, motherfuckers.
That was the tame one. Sorry.
Are you aware of the date that this recording was extracted, presumably from Mr. Gehrman's cell phone?
The date that it was extracted?
Correct.
Being like that we downloaded the phone?
Correct.
I don't know what that date was.
Okay. We had heard two dates on direct, a February 24th, 2022 and February 18th, 2022. Are you able to pinpoint on?
Yes, but I thought those were the modified dates. I'm sorry, I thought you meant the extraction of when the phone was extracted.
Well, that brings to the point, too. Do you know when this was taken from the phone, extracted from the phone?
It was, I know our digital forensic lab conducted the forensic dump. I'm not sure when that was, though. Okay. I don't know that date.
So you're unable to testify concerning that date at this point in time?
Correct. But like you were talking about with the two dates in February of 2022, yes. Those were the two voicemails that were, or the two audio files that were a little
That was the warm-up. Get both hands and your toes ready.
It's the second one right there?
Yep. Here we go.
All right, I'm going to have you listen to this one.
You guys just did some propaganda shit out about fucking just for Biden, you fucking piece of shit. You left-wing fucking faggot, fucking socialist fucking pig motherfuckers. You guys will pay in the end, motherfuckers. You fucking cheated and lied. You guys fucking lied and cheated. And then you went out fucking only Biden, only fucking back shit, motherfuckers. Fuck you piece of shit, you motherfuckers. You made the Republic fight again, and you guys are fucking dead motherfuckers someday, motherfuckers.
Fair to say that the second voice message is a different individual?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I got 4.
And you believe that
you guys get?
both messages were left by political extremists or those that tend to be extremist in nature?
Well, I would say that there are people that were upset with articles that were written. I don't want to judge or assume what their political affiliations are. Okay. I just knew they seemed upset.
Fair to say you didn't speak with either of these
How can you tell?
No, sir, I did not.
And you were asked and you were shown States Exhibit 367 concerning the date that you thought that these articles may be concerning.
Are we talking about the article that we just brought up?
Correct.
Yes.
And that article was the 22nd of February 2021, correct?
I thought it was February 21st, 2021, but yeah, it's 2021.
Okay. But you're not able to say exactly when these messages were left in reference to Mr. Gehrman?
No, I'm not.
Long period, short period, we don't know, do we?
Correct.
You were the primary detective in reference to this investigation.
Yes, sir.
Detectives generally operate in details. This was a homicide detail, correct?
That's correct.
Generally, kind of fast-acting investigations, you're generally trying to operate under deadlines because you believe that facts and circumstances that give rise to a charge of murder may be anything but static.
That's true, sure. I wouldn't say deadlines, but there is a expeditious work, yes.
You would testify that your initial press release was the 5th of September, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And then there was a subsequent press release on September 6th.
Yes.
And it was your testimony that after these press releases, you began to receive tips.
We started receiving tips, I would say probably at least by the 4th. Just, hey, I saw a guy who has clothes on that could possibly match over in a park, things like that. But tips regarding Mr. Tejas started coming in after the images of the suspect walking.
So you had received tips prior to your press release concerning this image, the image of the individual walking as well as the vehicle, correct?
Yes. No, well, we didn't get those until we released the image, so maybe they didn't come in until the 5th.
The 5th?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's unclear right now as far as your recollection concerning when you began to receive tips concerning who this perpetrator may have been.
No, I just know that we received tips. There was many tips that we got.
You received information from Detective Jappy in reference to Mr. Tellis, correct?
Yes, I did.
You authored a officer's report in reference to your investigation in this matter?
Correct.
And it's your testimony that you received information from Detective Jappy implicating Mr. Tellis?
He told me that he could be a possible person of interest for sure, yes.
Okay, but not implicating in the murder of...
No, he didn't come and tell me that he was... No, he posed him as a person of interest.
Okay. Obviously, you were involved in the in authoring this officer's report.
That's correct.
It's fairly lengthy. It's 70 pages.
Yeah, it is.
And you make reference to receiving information from Detective Jappy.
Yes.
On Monday, September 5th, 2022. And let me ask you this. You reviewed this in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes.
Okay. So if I told you page 3 of your officer's report, Detective Jappy from the Criminal Intelligence Section advised Tellis had recently posted a rant on Twitter.
Correct.
Fair to say that was his characterization?
Yes.
And this rant that you refer to has been shown to us today. This is the rant that you believe that Detective Jappy was pointing your attention to?
It was the Twitter images, or the screenshots of the tweets, yes.
Okay. And fair to say that Detective Jappy characterized this as a rant? Fair to say?
I really don't know if it was him or if I said rant.
Okay, but that was the word used in your report, correct?
Yes, that
That's what it
word
was.
rant is there.
I'm going to try to fix the audio a tiny bit.
There's an additional reference
Now it broke it worse.
that predates the release of these images that you received from Detective Jappy on September 4th.
Yes.
On September 4th, you were contacted by Criminal Intelligence Detective Jappy regarding Gehrman's murder, correct?
Yes, sir.
Jappy had advised you had prior contact with Robert Tellis, correct?
That is correct.
And that Tellis may have had a motive to murder Gehrman, correct?
Yes, sir.
So fair to say that that's implicating Robert Tellis in a murder. If you get a call or an email from Detective Jappy and he says, Mr. Tellis has a motive to murder him, wouldn't you agree with me that that is implicating him in a crime?
I would say that there's a lot of people that could have motives, and I'm just receiving the information. He said that he could have a motive, yes, but I don't take that as an implication because I don't take that. I still have to do my full investigation on my own. So we get tips.
And fair enough, but I'm using the words that you had used in reference to the report that you generated,
Yes.
correct? Robert Tellis had a motive to murder Gehrman. Fair to say?
That's
Based
what
upon your report?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And that Detective Jappy explained Tellis was upset with Gehrman because of an article he wrote, correct?
Correct.
And in reference to this article that Mr. Tellis was upset about, he made reference to a May 16th, 2022 article, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And if I told you that it was on page 21 of your 70-page report, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
I would not. That's probably correct.
So based upon your information that you had received from Detective Jappy, Mr. Tellis was upset about some May 16th, 2022 article, correct?
Yes.
And we go May, June, July, August, September. So we're talking 4 months that have basically transpired from the time of this article that Mr. Tellis was upset about and Mr. Gehrman's murder. Fair to say?
Correct.
So based upon the review of your officer's report, we have 2 references made to Detective Jappy very early on in this investigation.
Yes, sir.
One on September 4th, correct? And that's before you started receiving tips and information, and one on September 5th of 2022.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, you're agreeing with me. You authored this report, and you made reference to both of those, correct?
Yes, I just didn't know if there was a question. I'm sorry.
And it was, and that's why I asked. Yes, it's a question. Obviously, suffice to say, when I stand here and I ask you things, they're questions.
Okay, understood.
So right at the get-go, you'd agree with me that we have Detective Jappy reaching out to you stating, I know an individual that has a motive to murder Jeff Gehrman.
Yes.
There's part of your investigation concerned the subject Denali, correct?
Correct.
We had heard testimony that there were several Denalis, and that was former Detective Mogg. Now he's private citizen Mogg analyst. There was there was efforts made by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to ascertain what vehicle may have been involved in this crime, correct?
What do you mean ascertain what vehicle? Like from the video?
Yes. Yeah, trying to track that down.
That specific vehicle down, yes.
Correct. At one point in time, we have an email where, well, there's 67 Denalis. Fair to say it was a fairly large number.
Yes.
This witness reminds me of Ali Spagnola.
Were you able to determine, and of that 67, we heard from Mr. Mogg, I keep wanting to refer him as detective, but the number was narrowed down. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
But there was still a fairly large number of Denalis that you were trying to follow up on.
I can't say that it's a large number.
Okay. At one point in time, it became a specific Denali that you were focused on, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, there was surveillance in reference to this Denali on September 6th, 2022, correct?
That's correct.
We heard from Metro Intelligence agent Tolliver today that she was surveilling, and she saw that vehicle in relation to two others.
Yes.
Okay, that was September 6th, correct?
Correct.
And that was after the information had been sent to you, or you got calls 2 times from Detective Jack. Fair to say?
Up until that point?
Yes.
Okay.
So then you were focused on that one Denali, correct?
Well, we were focused on that Denali because we followed it from the crime scene back towards that neighborhood.
Well, we're getting there, but you're saying, we're talking about what's going on. Obviously, you didn't follow that.
We're not going to talk about that yet.
No, we were following it on video.
Correct. And when did that begin?
The video surveillance recovery? The day that we were out there documenting the scene.
Okay, you make reference to Mr. Mogg beginning this. Who else in addition to Mr. Mogg was involved in this collection of video?
Detective Milligan, Detective Hoffman, Detective Gilbert, pretty much all the detectives on my team. And then we, like I was telling DA Weckerly earlier, that there was also, we employed patrol detectives from other area commands to come and assist. So there was multiple people.
We had the whole conspiracy team out there.
On the day of the day that we were called out to the murder, so on September 3rd.
We watched an exhibit wherein we followed a Denali from a distance. You were obviously aware of that. You've reviewed that, and both in the steps that you took in this, in preparing this memo, this report, as well as in preparation for your testimony today. Fair to say?
I haven't seen Detective Mogg's report, but I am familiar with the video because it is part of the case file.
And are you aware of when Mr. Mogg ultimately compiled and presented that exhibit? The analysis concerning the Denali. Are you aware of when he compiled that and when he had that? When he finished it?
No.
Fair enough. There came a point in time where you obtained a search warrant concerning Mr. Tellis, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had testified that that search warrant was done about 2 in the morning on the 7th.
Correct.
There was a question asked by the state, did you submit this to a judge for approval, correct?
Yes, sir.
You did that?
Yes, sir.
And in preparation for this search warrant, you have to prepare an application, basically an affidavit in support of a search warrant.
That is correct.
And in this application, you lay out the steps and basically the evidence that you feel that you have.
Correct.
And that's in order to obtain probable cause to get the warrant, correct?
Yes, the facts that we've learned up to that point are what we use as probable cause, correct.
The warrant that you referred to was submitted, signed, and it contained your affidavit, correct, in support of probable cause?
Yes, I drafted that warrant.
And in reference to this, you say that obviously there was surveillance of Mr. Tellis' house, correct?
That is correct.
And that the surveillance occurred on Tuesday, September 6, 2022?
Correct.
You make reference to Mr. Tellis exiting his house and looking at the vehicle, correct?
Referring to the Denali, yes.
That he walked back inside the home, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then his phone stopped receiving phone signal, correct?
True. That's what I was told.
And then you state that Mr. Tellis exited the home again and began to wash the maroon GMC Denali, correct?
Correct, sir.
And then you show images of this Denali in reference to the Denali that you're investigating.
I don't show images in the search warrant, no.
You make reference to it.
Yeah, I speak about it.
Yes.
But I'm not showing images of it in the
But you
warrant.
make reference to it, correct?
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that on this affidavit that you submitted in support of probable cause, you didn't state that Mr. Tellis washed 3 vehicles, correct?
I did not know that at the time. I was told that after the fact.
Okay. At no point in time in here did you say he didn't wash the inside of the vehicle, did you?
No, because I wasn't told that he did.
But later you learned that he in fact washed all 3 vehicles in front of his residence.
I did, correct.
Over a 2.5-hour period.
Yes, sir.
And that he did not wash the interior of any of the vehicles.
Objection, I think that misstates the testimony.
Yes.
I think it's exactly what the testimony was.
You can ask her what she knew.
Yeah, no, at the time, I did not know that he washed all 3. At the time that I made that application, I only knew that he had washed the one, and that, yes, that the phone had dropped service and came back on. I wasn't told about the other 2 cars until days later.
Okay.
So I don't honestly recall anything about either even being the interior or exterior. I just knew at that time he was washing the exterior of the Yukon.
And if I told you today that we heard testimony from a detective or an officer from Metro Intelligence that he washed the exteriors of the 3.
I don't doubt that. I'm sure he did. I'm just telling you, I was not told that at the time.
Later in the day, you had testified that you received a phone call and that Mr. Tellis had been stopped, correct? And this is September 7th, 2022.
Yeah, and it was early in the morning, probably 6:30 or 7 in the morning.
He was stopped as a result of this warrant at your direction,
This
correct?
investigation, yes.
You received a phone call, he had been stopped. Do you know who stopped him?
I knew that we had surveillance on the house throughout the evening. We had patrol officers standing by to where if he was going to leave, that the patrol officers would make the traffic stop.
And are you aware of which patrol officer stopped him?
No, I'm not.
You'd agree with me that based upon Metro's policy, patrol officers are to wear body cam?
That is correct.
And that whenever there is civilian contact, that body cam should be running?
That's correct.
So you would presume that whomever it was that came into contact with this individual that you wanted to stop and who you were investigating for a murder would have their body cam running, correct?
I would assume that, yes.
Are you aware of multiple requests made on behalf of Mr. Tellis to obtain this body cam?
Yes.
Are you aware of an order issued by this court on July 18th of 2023 to preserve and turn over that body cam?
I don't know the exact dates of orders, but I know there were requests that were made.
And are you aware that that body cam was ultimately destroyed or erased and not turned over?
I believe it was overwritten.
And are you aware that that overriding of this body cam occurred about a month and a half, give or take, after the order to turn it over was made?
If you say so, I don't doubt that.
Ultimately, you come into contact with Mr. Tellis and on the morning of September 7th, 2022.
Yes, sir.
And at this point in time, you are recording your interactions.
Yes, I typically keep my recorder. It's an audio-only recorder on.
As a detective, you don't wear body cam, do you?
No, sir. That's why I keep the audio recorder on.
Understood. Is it fair to say that you come and go from crime scenes with or without CAD, or do you show up on CAD every time you appear at a crime scene?
We, by policy, are supposed to log in through dispatch, and we get assigned into CAD, which is the computer-aided dispatch system that we use. So yes, we do that. Is there a rare occasion that we end up somewhere and we didn't tell the dispatcher? Absolutely, but we log into CAD, yes.
Thank you,
Fair enough.
Kesha.
And obviously,
Thank you,
whether a person reports to CAD or logs into CAD, that's incumbent upon the person reporting, him or herself.
Correct.
Officers or detectives of Metro Intelligence, same thing. They don't wear body cam. We have to rely upon their logging in or not in order for them to appear in CAD, correct? Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
Just so we have a clear record, I appreciate you. So at this point in time, it's 7:23. It's a in the morning, September 2nd. September 7th, 2022. Mr. Tellis has stopped, and you need to come into contact with him. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And this point in time, you are recording your interactions with him because you may be of some evidentiary value.
Correct. Yes. It's not even just that it could be evidentiary value. I record a lot. I don't ever want my integrity to be called into question, so I want to make sure that my interactions are documented completely.
Understood. And in this case, you had the recorder rolling. Fair to say. You tell Mr. Tellis that you have a warrant and you need to stop him for a little while. Correct? He wasn't formally under arrest, but he was being
detained. Yes.
He was not free to leave.
Correct.
Is he handcuffed?
At that point, I'm not sure if patrol officers had him handcuffed because when I spoke to him, he was in the back seat of a patrol vehicle.
Correct.
I'm not sure if his hands were cuffed or not, but I know the door was shut. So, he's sitting in the back of a patrol car.
Obviously, if he had tried to walk away, he would have been stopped.
Absolutely, yes.
So he was not free to go.
That is correct, yes.
And so we're clear, and so we're operating from the same group of facts. There were 3 transcripts prepared in reference to your interactions with Mr. Tellis on September 7th, 2022.
Okay. I thought there was 4 different, but...
I have 3. So if I may approach the witness.
I would say, okay, yeah.
She's like, you're probably missing one. There's 4.
And they've got some notes on them. It's okay with me, but if I may approach. This one.
723? Yes, sir. 801? Yes, sir. Time at?
There's no time, but I'll get to it. I have 3. Is there 4?
Okay.
3.
I thought there would be 4 separate unless one of them is combined. The last one, can I look at that?
Please go right ahead.
The last one, it might be combined because that might have also the drive home.
Okay.
Give you a ride home. Use the restroom.
Don't read them out loud.
I believe there should be one more because it appears to end after leaving the substation.
Okay. And I'm going to ask Your Honor, I will address what I have here, but we may have to, after the break, we may have to address this.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So what I've shown you here is the 3 transcripts of these surreptitious recordings based on what I have. First one, it's yourself and Mr. Tellis, correct?
Correct.
Second one, it's yourself and Mr. Tellis.
That's correct. We were still at the traffic stop at that point.
And then the third statement, and it's the longer one. The first one that I have, there's about 5-6 pages, fair to say. 6 pages. Correct?
Yes.
That's a question.
Yes, sir.
Second one, 9 pages.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 pages. It was bad penmanship. Third statement or third surreptitious recording, that's 49 pages.
Yes, sir.
And on this third one, unlike the prior 2, we have Detective Jappy present.
That's correct.
You had reached out to Detective Jappy, or did he just appear?
No, I called him and asked for help.
Okay. First 2, fair to say, there's not really a lot of substantive conversation. You're saying you're not being arrested, even though he's handcuffed in the back of the car, but you're saying we have to detain you.
Yes.
You have these warrants, correct?
Yes.
The first 2 Where Detective Jappy is not present, we have the times that they occur, correct?
Yes, sir.
This third one, based upon your review of the transcript that I showed you, we don't have a time, do we?
On that transcript, no.
Okay. And this one's, like I said, fairly lengthy compared to the other two. It's 49 pages.
Correct.
Fair to say that during this time that Mr. Tellis is, he's been stopped, he's been handcuffed, he's been put in the back of the car, he's concerned. Reasonable to assume he was concerned. You get handcuffed, you stick back the car.
I just don't want to put feelings and emotions in somebody else's, but I understand what you're saying, yes.
Reasonable to assume he's concerned. It's kind of scary. I know people that, prior to being a homicide detective,
Is there a question?
Counsel's testifying.
Prior to being a homicide detective, you worked in other capacities for the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
Yes, sir.
At one point in time, did you start as a patrol officer?
Yes, I did.
Stopped someone for a traffic ticket before, correct? Prior to being a homicide detective.
Yes.
You've had people cry, you've had people respond a number of different ways, being just a patrol officer stopping someone for a traffic ticket.
Correct.
People can get alarmed and it can be a traumatic situation just for a traffic ticket, correct?
Sure, yes.
You'd agree with me that it's far more distressing to handcuff a person and stick them in the back of a police car.
Your objection calls for speculation.
Based on her experience.
Some people are okay with things like that. Some people aren't. I'm sorry, but I can't. I know he was concerned for his family that day.
Yes.
Absolutely. He was concerned. He wanted to see his wife and his children. But I don't want to speculate how he felt.
He's told that the press is at his house, correct?
Probably told by that point, yeah. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first two contacts that I had with him, but I know by the time we got to the area command, he was told.
Yes. He's being asked concerning, does he have injuries to his person?
Yes.
He basically says he doesn't. He has an injury to his ring finger, but...
Correct.
He makes a reference to his alarm waking him up, and he's told by Detective Jappy that you don't have to worry about that ever again. And I'm referring, counsel, to page 7 of the third
Detective
recording.
Jappy.
Recall that?
I don't recall that.
If I may approach the witness.
I will tell you, though, there was times that I was in and out of the room, too. So, honestly, I don't recall hearing that. I'm not saying it wasn't said, but I don't recall it.
And if I told you that he's being told you never have to worry about his alarm clock again, fair to say that's an accurate depiction of what's contained in the transcript?
That was on the transcript.
He's informed that his house is being processed.
All right. I'm not sure what that objection was because they are allowed to lead on cross, and prosecution has been leading the entire time on direct. But a minute ago, yes, he was sort of testifying. He was sharing his own experience. Is there a jury? Yes, there is a jury. Jury is here. The jury is wondering why they're here because this case is bizarre beyond belief. Not just the 22 cursey words in that shouting phone message we heard a minute ago, but there is a lot of evidence that seems to point towards the defendant. The crime scene evidence, the outfit items cut up, hidden in his house in various locations, his DNA under the victim's fingernails, a vehicle that matches the one that he or his wife owns, being driven to and from the crime scene and back towards his house. There's a lot of stuff here. Plenty of motive through and through. But the jury's like, well, I don't need to take notes anymore. This jury can ask questions, and we have had a couple questions, but none today. He's also trying to read hearsay into the record. That might be the objection here. He's calling for hearsay. We don't know, Donna, who was on the voicemail.
This time, we're going to take a recess. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or the means of communication or social media. Read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case. Do any research. Consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials. Do any investigation. Test a theory. Recreate any aspect of the case or in any other way. Investigate or learn about the case on your own or form or express any opinion regarding the case until it's finally submitted to you. We'll be in recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you all. Next week,
So as they go to recess for 15 minutes, we're going to just chill here nicely. I might go get a drink, not Mountain Dew, but more water. I'm nearly out of water. I've got just a little swig left. All right, stretch yoga break. We can do that. Can I stretch as well? Can I walk out and go get a drink? Let's see. Let's find some yoga music. Let's try this one. I still don't have very good yoga music. Wait. What's this one right here? What a day. Nope, that's not it. Is this a good one? Is this like get up and stretch music? There we go. Yeah, we're feeling it. All right, everyone, take a deep breath. Arms out. Oh, yes. Okay, good. Work those muscles. It's the glutes that'll get you. It's the glutes. All right. Mrs. R, are you going to work out with us? No. She's reading a book. Reach for the ceiling, Keshet. Thank you. Stretch. Arm over the shoulder. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. No pain, no gain, guys. This is it. You need to do Megan Fox's squats video. Oh, man, that would kill me. My lower back, this chair is murder. It's bad. Okay, deep breath. Maybe roll the neck around a little bit here. Okay, and now we're back up to the high kicks. Here we go. I'm doing it under the table. You can't see, but trust me, I'm doing high kicks. I hope this is copyright free. If I disappear suddenly, I chose the wrong song. All right, defendant is writing with what I used to call a grease pencil. Any significance to that? Probably because he was stabby on himself. There we go. Whew, that was a good one. I like that. We're going to do that workout more often, I think. My heart's pumping. I'm counting that as aerobic exercise. I'm out of breath just watching, says Weather Watch. Pump up the jam. Put water in the freezer. It's in the fridge. It's in the fridge. In the freezer, if it freezes, I cannot drink it. So we're going to, I think we're going to show you just a brief view outside. And now we're going to go to, I don't want you guys to go to sleep yet, but we need to calm down our heart rate. So we're going to bring you a view of outside. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to fill the whole screen. I'm going to put on the sad piano music, not because it's sad piano music, but because it's calming. And just like that, we're going to relax while I run and get some water. Okay? I'll be right back. You guys keep track of the shapes in the sky while I'm gone. 1 second. All right. Wasn't that relaxing? That was pretty good. All right. What did I miss? I think we're just finishing. Oh, my cushion fell off my seat. There we go. Oh. There we go. All right. Now we're ready to jump back to court, which is currently in progress. They're in a break. They've got a 15-minute break. There's our counter. Anybody count is up to 112. Remember that anybody count, anytime anybody says body in this trial, we add one to the counter. It also counts if they show the body. Yes, I know they've shown the body several times, which is not normal, but we've seen it, so that counts. We should do break time poll next time, just for fun or otherwise. We could do that. We've got a few more minutes left. We might have time for a poll right now. What's your suggestion as far as the topic of the poll? I like to keep the deliberation polls focused on right when the jury starts deliberating, like the length of time. Oh, the thumbnail. I have not even checked on the thumbnail. It's probably new. Let me see. Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Let me do a quick update. I'll download the current version. Somebody put a video file on there. That does not work. We cannot do video files on the thumbnail. Okay. Still trying to download. It tries to convert the video to a still image. If it can do it, it will download successfully. It looked like it worked that time. All right, I'm going to edit the thumbnail on this live stream, update it with that. There we go. Okay, so this live stream has the updated image on it. But as far as what it looks like, I'd have to cover chat to see that. So just one second. All right, here's our thumbnail so far on this. Robert, tell us. We've got lots of yeses from the pigeon. Yes, 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 yes. I like that. The body count we're going to update. It's 102 on this version. I think we're up to 112 now, but I can update that. Security cameras all over the place. The judge chewing gum. What are the candles? Oh, she's got her blinged out scales of justice. That's what it is. The cursey words on the voicemail message. Somebody gave me eyebrows, like serious eyebrows. And they're also working on, I guess a few people have eyebrows here. What is the king and the gladiators in Las Vegas doing? Not sure about that one. The purse, Sprouts bag, the Nike tennis shoe with the scissors, the car wash, the sombrero, the fluorescent of construction workers, the Boss Baby, like the Boss Baby logo. Will we get in trouble for that one? Not sure. Good stuff. I'm stuck in the tub. Yes, we heard about that. We've got the drone that went in that saw him and the robot. DNA under the fingernails with the nail clippings. Edward Scissorhands. The cloud got hacked. I think that's everything. All right, let's go back to watching the wall, I guess, as we wait to start, and I'll see if I can get chat messages back up. Okay. There we go. Caption over the car. The caption over the car, I have to go back and see what it said. Yes. The caption over the car is referring to the photographs that were testified to as, yes, this is a picture that was taken from the phone. Yes, this was a picture taken from the phone. Has nothing to do with the car at all. Any car that anyone was seen in. Let's see. Mandy, we can see you. R.A.'s eyebrows took me out. I've got some serious eyebrows in there. Oh, the old guard, Red Pen. That makes sense. The old guard, the king, queen, the old guard. Squeaky door. Steve N says I can call and make a few things up if you need an explanation. We'll pass on the makeup part. The wasp sounded drone on the thumbnail. Yes, it is. It's by the tub. The thumbnail is crazy. I love it. First of all, the thumbnail is a fun way to get a lot of people involved with the trial and just to draw out some of the more interesting moments, because I have a terrible memory, and having it commemorated in image form is great. YouTube constantly tells me that I would get a lot more viewers and a lot more clicks on my videos if I followed Mr. Beast style thumbnails, but that's not nearly as fun. So we do what we do. I'll get clicks later. I like the thumbnails. Could we put a link up for Canva again? Confused Canva? I will. Sorry, confused polar bear. I'll put the link up for Canva. Let's see. Anyone with the link? Copy link. All right, there's the link. Just remember that a lot of people are working on this, and so if you have suggestions, use the suggestion page instead of the main thumbnail. And then those that are familiar, a couple people have access to Canva Pro, which allows them to do a few things that the average user can't do. So it's all good. All right, coming back to court in mere moments, assuming that the judge was accurate in her break. We are 400 away from 60K. I think it's a little less. I think we're like 333 or something is the actual number. Let me see if I can pull it up. It takes forever to get to the actual live count. Let's see. Analytics. See live count. Okay, we're at 59,683. That means we need 317 more to reach 60,000. Now only 316. Thank you to whoever just subscribed. This trial is supposed to take about 2 weeks. We're halfway through. We have to avoid copyright claims, which means we can't put copyright images or characters on there, logos, things like that. But there are creative ways we can represent something without using the copyrighted image. So I highly encourage that. So if you want to put Popeyes on there, there's a way to put, a chicken with its eyes bulging out would be Popeye's chicken, something like that. Steven says, I'd like to sarcastically thank you. I've recently subscribed to Canva Pro. Thanks. It's good. They have great AI tools as well. Like you can have it create some pretty cool images. Let's see. A chicken eating a can of spinach. See that? I get the reference there as well. think we drove through Bentonville, Arkansas on the way here. I'm not sure. We might have. I use Canva Pro for my adult job. It's a good tool. They make a good tool. WD-40, a pigeon. Pigeon's already on top of the car on the thumbnail. That's good. Canva Pro is free for educators. That's good to know. Oh, Weather Watch. Oh, look at this zinger. Cachette, what do the adults there use? Yeah. That's funny. Weather Watch has clearly had his Mountain Dew for the day. See, we can't use the Popeye character. We would get dinged for that. Like we can't use Mickey Mouse. Can't use Popeye. The Red Dress Reporter, that's a reporter we follow. She's live tweeting this case. So let's see. Thank you. I already got 2 already though that are cold, but I appreciate that. Let's see. The reporter in the red dress is Vanessa Murphy. And she's a local reporter that is doing a good job keeping everybody up to date on the trial. Her info, again, on Twitter or X, it's at Vanessa_Murphy. And that's spelled VANESSA _Murphy is MURPHY. Bug Dugger, I saw the message about the video. I saw that. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I saw the message come in. What you looking for? Here, how about I just switch to this camera so that nobody can see, and then you can grab it. There you go. Love you. Bye. I think we did go through Bentonville. I'll have to check the map, but it's up by, I think that was on our trip over here. Wait. Maybe not. Because we went through and we saw the original store for Cabela's. That was in Nebraska, I think. I don't know. Geography is not my strong suit. That's why I have Siri. Road trip update. We are here at our place in Utah, our Airbnb in Utah, for the next couple weeks, and then we're going to go up to Idaho for a week or so, and then we're going to drive back. I know Mrs. R.A. has picked the route for the way back, but I don't know which roads we're taking. I don't think we're going the same way, like up through West Virginia and everything. I think we're going. I don't know, does it split at St. Louis? I forget. There's a way we can go further south and come in through Tennessee. I think we're doing that one on the way back. I did not see a Buc-ee's anywhere. There were some pretty cool travel, like truck stop things that were nowhere on the scale of Buc-ee's, but also very clean, very big, nice. No, she listens to me just ramble on all day. She's very patient. I was talking to Thal yesterday. He's out and about. He was doing some stuff, but actually, he called me on Saturday. I think he's doing okay. LB, everything is great at home. I think there's a good chance my house flooded, and I won't know till I get back. If it did, I need a new portable generator, chainsaw. Pretty much all my power tools. I think my Christmas decorations, no, just kidding. There won't be damage because I left those up all year long. They're still good. Yeah, I don't know. But we're hoping fingers crossed the sump pump worked. I can check in and see that our internet is still working, which means we still have power. So I can see that remotely, and I can see that, our Airbnb guests are, entering and exiting the building just fine. He's taking care of our lawn, so he's good. Here's the point. If it floods, I don't know it's flooded. And for insurance purposes, from when I discover that there was a problem, that's when it counts. Is chat supposed to be on screen? Because it's not. This is the first one I put up, Tisha. Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on screen. Ignorance is bliss. Really, it's the worst thing that will get damaged down there is the furnace. That's the expensive thing. All the rest can be replaced, or don't need to be replaced, honestly. No, we've got people that are checking on it. They haven't reported any problem, but I just haven't bothered to call them. We've lived through hurricanes before, and it's been fine. So, but mold. Hey, North Carolina, we use mold as a building foundation. That's what we do out there. Let's see. I think we're coming back here in just a minute. I have not talked to Rob in a bit. I know with his move and everything, he's got a lot of things to do. Mold is insulation. Yes. Am I from North Carolina originally? No, I'm back home right now. North Carolina, I've been there for the last 5 years. Red Pen, I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you. I don't know what we'd do without you here to correct my English mistakes. Martha, our house itself had no basement, and then they dug a basement underneath and cemented it in, dried it in. So it's a dirt, like a half dugout basement that's dried in. That's where it would flood, if there is a flood. It wouldn't affect anything in the house. The house itself is on high ground. It would just be that little dugout thing. Rob's going to do FNF this Friday. Awesome. Can't wait for that to come back. It's really cool. Plus, I'm out west, so I can stay up later, and it won't ruin my sleep schedule. Okay, once again, the court is late coming back by about 10 minutes. Lived in New Bern back in the early 80s. Man, New Bern is a pretty city. A lot of history there. No Monday Fun Day tonight with Runkle. I saw a tweet from him today that he got some bad news about somebody taking some of his stuff. That's not good. FNF, Friday Night Frenzy, is a show that Rob does on his channel on Law and Lumber, which is an amazing channel. If you're not subscribed to Law and Lumber yet, you need to do it. Rob is one of the good guys, a lawyer on YouTube, official pillar of LawTube. Remain seated. Judge is coming in. Somebody's on the phone.
Everyone, please be seated. Please come to order according
is now back in session.
Does the state stipulate to the presence of the panel? Yes, Your Honor. And the defense?
Yes, thank you.
You may continue.
Thank you. Turn your attention to, before the break, we were talking about the search warrant that you had authored and gotten about 2 o'clock in the morning on September 7th.
Yes, sir.
2022. You'd agree with me that you received an email from Detective Jappy at 12:44 a.m. on September 7th, 2022.
I'm not sure if you could refresh my memory.
Absolutely. If I may approach the witness. Thank you.
I really like this witness. She is not flustered at all.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
You received this email. You said obviously you work long hours when you're involved in a homicide investigation, especially close in time to when the homicide is alleged to occur. Remember that testimony? Appears that Detective Jappy was working long hours as well, correct?
Yes.
He sent you this email at 12:44 a.m.
Gotta fix the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he belongs to the criminal intelligence section, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this email concerns the surveillance log from today/yesterday, correct?
Yes, sir.
He then makes reference to call me tomorrow when you have a moment. We can figure out a way to get those videos to you, correct? And those are the surveillance videos.
Yeah. I'm not sure which
another
videos.
matter that he was going to send to you. Do you recall?
No, I don't recall him sending me videos. That's why I wasn't sure which ones he was talking about. But
just so it's clear, I mean, you're communicating with him at 12:44 a.m.
Well, he sent me an email, but I'm not sure if I read that or if I responded back or.
Okay.
That shows that that's what time he sent it. True.
Fair enough. And then we're continuing on with the events concerning the stop of Mr. Tellis and your interactions with him and Detective Jappy. Obviously, you informed Mr. Tellis that he's not arrested, but he's not free to go.
When I first approached him, yes.
I'm referring to this third transcribed statement.
Okay.
And you're telling him he's not free to go.
True.
And I'm referring, counsel, to page 20 of the third recording. You tell him that he can't make calls.
Correct.
There's questioning going on between Mr. Jappy and Mr. Tellis in your presence.
Some in my presence and some without, yes. I know they're talking.
Correct.
I wouldn't say it was fully questioning, but there was communication, yes.
You inform Mr. Tellis that press is breaking and that the media is at his house. I mean, I'd asked you a question, but it's in this transcript, page 28 of this third 49-page transcript. Fair to say?
Okay.
Trying to fix all the audio and get it right. I like that.
There's discussions with him concerning the great amount of stress that he must be under, correct?
If it's in the transcript, I agree with you.
And I will not mislead you. So if I say it's in the transcript, and I'm referring to page 28 of the recorded transcript. In fact, it's told, I don't think any of us could ever comprehend the amount of stress that you've been going through.
Did I say that?
Detective Jappy did.
Okay, I don't recall saying that.
Effect on the listener. But there's discussion concerning the cameras at his home, Mr. Tellis' home.
Correct.
And he's cooperative, gives you a password to those. Says they were recently installed.
I remember they were recently installed, yes.
There is a concern for his family and his family's safety, and that's why.
Objection, hearsay.
I'm not saying what he said. It puts her statements into context.
Are you gonna ask her what she said to him?
Yes.
Okay.
You
little
said
help there from the judge.
I don't know about the gunshot in the neighborhood. You know, it was a couple days. That was your statement. Page 31.
I don't know what gunshot would be referencing, though.
Okay. If I may approach the witness, I mean, go to page 31.
Okay, I see that in the transcript.
Yes. And that was in reference to the security cameras that had been recently installed at his house.
Yes, that's what we were asking about at that time.
And then you asked him about the shoes at the residence that have been recovered, correct?
Sure, yes.
You know, there's a number of questions concerning the shoes. We've had multiple photos, exhibits. Did you ever size those shoes?
No, I personally have never come into contact with those shoes. They were recovered at his house. I was never there. So that would be with the CSAs. They do look at the size on the tag and notate that.
Okay, and we've you know, there's been a great deal, and I mean, you were the lead detective in this case. There's been a great deal of issues made or arguments made, presentations made concerning those shoes. You have no recollection of what the size of those shoes are, do you?
No, I've never seen those shoes in person.
And I'm going to direct your
the
attention
shoe
to
doesn't
page
fit.
33 of your statement. You're talking about how his family must be suffering through the stress of all of this.
Okay.
How he should make it easy on his family, correct?
Yes.
They don't deserve to struggle with this, correct?
Yes.
You know, there comes a time where one way or another, other things have to be answered. And I'm just going to refer to your statement specifically. You made that statement, correct? You tell him you're going to have to own up to what happened.
Yes.
It's an interrogation.
If not for
Police
anybody
tactics.
other than your family.
101.
Yes.
You talk about his family being collateral damage, correct?
If it's in there, I believe you, yes.
You talk about how hard it's going to be on them, correct?
Yes.
You talk about this vehicle that's in the video being identical to his, at least in your opinion, correct?
Correct.
You make reference to a sunroof.
Okay.
I'm sorry, actually, Detective Jappy does. I mean, you were present for this interview. Page 38, there's a discussion about the security cameras being recently delivered to his home, Mr. Tellis's home.
Okay.
Do you recall what time it was that you ultimately returned Mr. Tellis to what he was doing prior to being detained?
I know the sun was still out. I have not checked the CAD. If I saw the CAD, I could tell you exactly when it was. But I know it was still daylight out. I want to say maybe 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoon, somewhere in that time.
Okay, and he'd been in your custody since a little after 7.
Correct.
And he was stopped prior to your arrival, correct?
Yes.
I may approach the witness. I'm going to go through with you what's been marked as defense exhibits B through V.
Okay.
If you could please just go through those.
They are the images of Mr. Tejas at the area command that were taken by the CSA. Yes.
Do these photos accurately depict the photos of, and we've heard Tejas tell us on September 7th?
I've gone with Mr. Tejas, so yeah.
They do. Tejas or tell us.
No objection, Your Honor. They're admitted.
If I may publish these.
I think it was actually one of the end of our interview where we spoke about the pronunciation. So.
Oh, so he likes it, Tejas.
All right. This is Defense Exhibit B. Just orientate ourselves. That's Mr. Tellis, correct, on this morning or this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
And obviously, the significance of these photos is they wanted to document any injuries to his body.
Correct.
There have been photos marked and admitted concerning a cut on his right hand. He gave you an explanation of that during your interview, correct?
Yes.
This is it was his left hand that had the injury. This is his right hand.
This is his other hand.
Yes, sir.
Don't look at the injured hands. Look at this hand instead.
It's not clear.
Yes, it's really blurry.
I always am when it comes to this. Let's see.
You need to focus. That's zoom.
There we go. Yep. And he is right-handed, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't think we asked him that in the interview.
That's my next point. You didn't ask him. If I told you he's right-handed, would you have any reason?
Objection, hearsay.
Right hand, there's no injuries, correct?
There are none visible in that picture, correct?
And that was Defense Exhibit C. This is Defense Exhibit D. This is torso, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what we call the...
You'd agree with me that there's no injuries that you see.
Never mind. I was going to make a joke.
Exhibit.
What's the Chinese writing say next to the dragon? Anybody know? Can you Google image
Defense
it?
Exhibit E. This is his right side. Same question.
Yes, sir. There's nothing visible there.
Defense Exhibit F. This would be his back, correct?
Correct.
Neck, head. Again, no visible injuries.
Correct.
Also from Tinder.
Defense Exhibit G. Other side.
Yes, sir.
No injuries present.
Hey, he's sucking his gut in.
Not
this
what
is
that you can see there,
clearly
correct.
manipulation.
We'll close up Defense Exhibit H of his right side.
And that's the same. As you can see in what's depicted, there are no injuries present there.
He's flexing and he's sucking in his
Of
gut.
the portion of his body that you're looking at there, you're correct. There are no injuries present in that photograph.
Okay.
That is correct.
Defense Exhibit I. Close up of his shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It looks like maybe a little red dot there, but I couldn't speculate what that is.
We heard testimony from crime scene analysts that she felt that there was a bruise to his right shoulder. I would.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with me? You don't really?
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I see redness there, but I can't.
Fair enough.
I don't know. There was 5 days between when Gurman was murdered to the time that Rob Tejas was taken into custody, so I don't want to.
And you'd agree with me that bruises generally develop through time. They're not instantaneous. You'd expect there to be bruises if there was an injury 5 days after an injury occurred. Fair to say?
No. And I'm not a medical expert. I can't testify to that.
Okay. Defense Exhibit J. You agree with me we don't see any injuries there?
It's reddening, you can see, but I can't say that there's a specific injury there.
What clothes was he wearing and ultimately were taken off prior to this photo was being taken?
I know he had jeans on. I think it was I want to say it was a white T-shirt. I could be mistaken on that.
You don't see any scratch marks or anything of that nature, correct?
Not in that photo, no.
Defense Exhibit K. This would be the left side.
Correct.
No injuries, correct?
Correct.
Defense Exhibit L. Same question. Back of his neck.
Yes, there's no apparent injuries.
And this gives it a little red tint. It may be the function, but this will go back with the jury. But looking at it, you don't see any redness when you look at it, do you?
No, not really.
Are you counting his
like
body?
panning,
Is that what we're
I guess
counting?
right there in that photograph, that specific one.
Turning your attention to Defense Exhibit M. And we have a shadow, but we don't have any injuries, do we?
None that I'm aware of, no.
Turning your attention to Defense Exhibit N. Now we're looking at his lower body. You see his abdomen. No injuries present in that photo, correct?
Not that I can see there.
Well, it answers the question you guys had. Boxers was the answer, the correct answer. Boxers.
Defense Exhibit O.
No injuries that I can see there.
Defense Exhibit B. I'm sorry, P.
And no injuries that I can see there.
Oh, I wasn't
I think
going to
there
look.
might be like, I know the left ring finger is damaged, so I can't tell if that's visible on his left side, but on the back of his legs, no.
Defense Exhibit Q.
There's nothing visible that I can see.
Defense Exhibit R. Put it this way. Again.
Nothing visible that I see.
See a hangnail.
And it may seem like a funny question, but his feet weren't measured for size, to your knowledge, correct?
No.
We just marked small, that's all.
Defense Exhibit S. Same question, no injuries?
None apparent that I see.
Defense Exhibit T.
None, no apparent injuries that I see.
Holy Achilles.
Defense Exhibit U.
I'd really have to look at it on a computer. That may be pinkish around the ankle, but nothing really apparent or anything, that's substantial. Correct.
Fair enough. If I may approach the witness with it. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't look pinkish in that photo.
I would say that gives these pictures a pink hue, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when you came into contact with Mr. Tellis after having been stopped, he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, correct?
Yes.
I'm showing you it's Defense Exhibit V. He's no longer wearing the jeans or the t-shirt, is he?
Correct. We took his clothing.
He took his clothing.
Yes, we did.
We had a crime scene analyst here last week, and it's Defense Exhibit A.
He doesn't want to point out the injury. Defense does not ignore the evidence. Look at the stuff that's not evidence. Look at where there's no injuries.
Yes.
Do you want the detective to open it? It doesn't matter. I'll open it, he says. Detective is loading the dishwasher, cleaning up the witness stand, making room. Sounds like someone just opened a witness or a evidence bag and then blew their nose. Hopefully not with the evidence.
Now, in reference to this search warrant that you got at 2 a.m. on September 7th,
2
part of that
a.m.
search warrant included not only the Denali, contents of the Denali, but it was also the clothing that may have been tied to this commission of this crime, correct?
Correct.
And you took these jeans from Mr. Tellis, believing that this may have somehow been involved with the crime, correct?
We took those, they were dark pants, and we were looking at all dark pants, and without really taking them off as a person and inspecting them, I wasn't going to be certain if they were or were not going to be pants possibly worn.
Were these pants ever processed?
Not to my knowledge. No. I know the crime scene analysts, when they impound them, they will visually look at the item to see if there's apparent blood, things like that, and none was noted.
Express Brands jeans.
So his pants were taken from him and he was given that jumpsuit that...
Yes. I can rebag it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this jumpsuit was what he was sent home in, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was his white shirt taken as well?
I'd have to look at the report. I can't remember that off the top of my head.
Okay, I don't have a record of it, but I was just asking if you recall.
Yeah, I did.
There were other people interviewed in reference to the gait of Mr. Tellis, correct?
Yes, sir.
We heard from a couple of witnesses last week. Do you remember interviewing a Zach Schilling?
Yes.
You interviewed him on the 26th of September.
Sounds about right.
Have you reviewed this recorded statement in preparation for your testimony?
No, I haven't.
I just have a couple quick questions, but would you like... We'll go question by question. I'll have many, and if you need to see it, please tell me.
Okay.
Okay. When you interviewed him, he was not alone, correct?
Correct.
Who else was present?
There was a female, I think it was a business associate or something to that effect.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember her name.
Miss Riffle?
Yes. I don't remember the first name, though, either.
If I told you that Miss Riffle testified last week, following Mr. Schilling, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
No.
Fair to say, and I won't get into the substance, but there had been some bad blood between Mr. Schilling and Mr. Tellis, based upon the sum and substance of your interview, correct?
Again, I haven't reviewed it in a long time. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything notable, I guess, about that. I knew that they knew each other. I recall that from the interview. But I don't remember anything specific about, I think, I don't know if you said bad. I don't want to, yeah.
Why don't, I'm going to approach with the court's permission to perhaps refresh the sum and substance of this conversation. Please take your time. I'm just referring to the Sergeant.
Can you just tell me the page again, please?
Absolutely. Specifically page 8 that I want to read the substance of it. And this is a fairly lengthy interview. It was 99 pages long.
Okay.
Please review that.
Please review the next 99 pages.
That was something that I want to address, but I just want you to
take
flip
your time.
through that to remember, to refresh your recollection.
That's a long interview. I'm sorry. Okay.
So while we're on page 2 now.
I will put it this way. Fair to say that Mr. Schilling didn't like Mr. Tellis very much.
I just remember that they knew each other from business. I don't remember the context of it.
Contacts the public administrator's office.
No, yes.
Getting paid.
Yes, but I mean his personal feelings, I don't remember much of those.
Why don't you look at page 8?
Okay.
Save us some time here. If I told you my client was innocent, would you disagree? Objection.
Okay.
Yeah. And just so we're clear, this interview occurred in front of Miss Riffle, correct?
Yes, she was present.
And during this interview, Mr. Schilling referred to Mr. Tellis as an asshole, right?
Yes, he did.
I may approach the witness.
There's our guy. Your Honor, I rest my case.
He claimed to recognize Mr. Tellis's gait in the videos that had been released on Monday, September 5th, correct?
I vaguely remember that, yes.
It's before we saw him driving his own car around. It's a pretty good eye. You recognize the guy's gaits.
In reference to your officer's report, you lay out what issues, what items were found through the course of the search of Mr. Tellis's house, correct?
You're talking about the location and who recovered it and stuff?
Yes.
Yes, that's documented.
And in reference to these shoes, according to your report, it was Detective Gilbert that...
Yes, he was present. And remember, I was not.
You were not? Okay.
Yes, so this is from the scribe that had provided the information to me. That's how it gets into my report.
Understood, but obviously you want to be as correct and as
absolutely
thorough as
absolutely.
possible.
Yes.
John Martinez was just really discounted. He didn't even have any information to get concerning. Do you remember him? He was a construction worker.
Yeah. And Detective Milligan
couldn't remember
went to go
anything.
found him? Okay.
And in reference to the installation or the reason for the installation of these cameras, it was consistent concerning other people that you'd interviewed, the reason for the installation of the cameras.
Objection. I'm going to call for hearsay sustained.
You had testified that Detective Chappie had helped you in this case, correct? I think that was your testimony when we began this cross. Do you recall that?
If that's the word that was used, okay. I know Detective Jaffe. Yes, he assisted. Correct.
And following the results concerning the DNA, Detective Jaffe reached out to Mr. Tellis to say that you're going to be arrested or detained, correct? And that was after he'd been dropped off at home in his jumpsuit.
I was not present for that.
You were shown a number of articles, and we watched some videos together before the break concerning the events of the Public Administrator's Office. Do you remember that line of questioning?
Yes.
You remember that video that we watched with Mr. Jaffe and Mr. Tellis in a garage? There's a
With the
video
vehicle.
getting out of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Based upon your understanding, we had somebody sleuthing. I mean, we had somebody following Mr. Tellis, correct?
Objection.
Based upon her...
Calls for speculation.
Based on her knowledge?
Based on your knowledge. I mean,
I had nothing to do with any of that part of Mr. Tejas at the PA's office or the writings that Jeff Gurman did about him.
Fair enough. But in that video that we watched together,
Lego, thank you very much.
we saw them get, we saw Mr. Tellis getting out of a vehicle, and it looked like it was in some parking lot, correct?
That is correct. That's what I saw.
It wasn't in an office. You were part of the search of the Public Administrator's Office on September 8th?
Yes.
Yes. That did not appear to be related or in that parking lot or at the Public Administrator's Office.
That's correct. It does not appear.
So when I ask you, it appears that somebody's sleuthing. Obviously, someone is involved concerning Mr. Tellis, and it's outside of the Public Administrator's Office. Fair to say, where that video was captured? Maybe that's a bad question. Obviously, we have something going on. There's a capture that we all watched before the break, and it's Mr. Tellis getting out of his vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And based upon that article, somebody obtained that video of Mr. Tellis, correct? I'm not saying it's Metro, but based upon our view of that, somebody captured that. Somebody was sleuthing.
Somebody did, yes.
Somebody.
And that was in
filmed
reference
it.
to events going on in the public administrator's
Somebody
office.
captured the video, correct, pertaining
Yeah.
to the public administrator's office.
So somebody must be conducting
Welcome
surveillance.
to the
Somebody must be
gallery.
following Mr. Tellis.
I have no knowledge of that.
Calls for speculation.
In reference to what you had characterized as surveillance, the spot off of the Popeyes, that parking lot,
Yes.
mile and a half away from Mr. Tellis, or from
Think of-
Mr. Gehrman's home, correct?
Correct.
Mile and a half. We have multiple photos. You opined that there, or you gave an opinion that this was surveillance or something, correct?
That's what it appeared to be. From the time frame that those images were taken, I think it was about a 2+ hour block of time, and with the amount of them, that's what it appears to be.
Okay, but again, too, we don't even know if that has anything to do with anything, do we? It's just something that was found on the phone, or perhaps was part of a cloud, correct? In reference to
That was
Mr.
found on the phone, yes.
Yes. You don't know of any, I mean, you gave the opinion that this was surveillance, but we don't know, do we?
That's my opinion.
So you do have an opinion concerning surveillance, at least sometimes.
When I conduct the surveillance, yes.
Okay. But in this case, we had several photographs taken of vehicles, correct?
You're talking about from the Popeyes?
Yes.
I think it was hundreds. Yes.
150, something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot.
None of those cars were of significance in this case, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. I have no further
Which means
questions.
he surveilled
Actually,
poorly.
I'd move to admit Defense Exhibit W.
It's a jump drive.
No objection, Your Honor.
The jump drive of the audio recordings
Move
from
to
the,
admit, I believe by stipulation, that's A, B through D.
the voicemail messages. Right, he did absolutely nothing. Zero, zilch. There was no
Detective
impeachment.
Gaddis, those audio recordings associated with Mr. Gehrman's phone, I'd like to talk about those first.
Yes, ma'am.
With both of those, was there an attempt made to see if there was a phone number that you could associate with the voicemail?
Yeah, I tried to identify who the caller was, but there was no phone number connecting at the same time that would lead me down that path.
So there was no data you could go further on to determine like whose phone number it might have been?
That's correct.
And it sometimes happens like that. There's just a data file and there's no further information to follow up on?
Yes.
When Detective Jaffe brings Mr. Tellis to your attention on 9/4, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then he's with you on 9/7 on the date of the buckle swab and search warrant.
That's correct.
After 9/7, is Detective Jaffe involved in the homicide investigation?
No.
And is the rest of the investigation from 9/7 on done by yourself and other members of homicide?
That's correct.
After 9/7, is homicide conferring with Detective Jaffe, like, hey, this is the next warrant we're going to do,
No.
this is the next thing we're going to do,
Not
is
at
this
all.
okay with you?
No, not at all.
I mean, that wouldn't happen because Detective Jaffe is in a whole different section?
Correct.
And you're the one responsible for this investigation?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about that, the body cam from the traffic stop.
Yep.
Can you explain to the members of the jury, please, what an event number is?
So every time an officer goes to stop somebody, like on a traffic stop, they call it out on the radio, and that generates an event number in our CAD system. So there's different event numbers for different things, but typically if a patrol officer was going to stop a car, that's the first step he's going to take, is to call it on the radio.
Now, the event number for the murder drew an event number from 9/3, correct?
Yes, it did.
In order for reports and photographs and all interviews and any audio associated with the murder, is it tagged with that murder event number?
Typically, yes.
Okay. So when Mr. Tellis was stopped on 9/7, was that under the same event number as the murder?
No. So the event numbers, especially if it is a murder event number, basically that event number is only open for as long as there's officers that are physically assigned to an area. Once everybody clears or logs off for the day, that event number closes we still reference that for all the crime scene reports, for all the video collection. That's the main event number that everything goes under, but it's closed. So now on a subsequent day, if we're going to go stop a car or do a search warrant, a different event number gets populated.
Now, can patrol or traffic officers tag or mark certain body cam to not be deleted in the normal course of storage if it's associated with a murder or if it needs to be retained?
Yes, so basically there's many different levels of retention. If it is something as basic as a person stop that you just talk to somebody and then let them walk away, I think it only retains for 90 days maybe. I think a traffic ticket might retain for a year, or each thing you do has a different retention level. Or I think it's traffic stop is just a year, and then a ticket might be a couple years or something like that. And that is automated in the system. So when you create that event, a vehicle stop is called a 467. So when you create the 467, your body cam that's linked to CAD knows that that's a vehicle stop. So unless you change it, it doesn't. It stays as a vehicle stop with a retention of 1 year or less than 1 year. Yes.
Okay. And so, you were aware before you came in and testified today that this portion of body cam from the traffic stop was missing in this case?
Yes.
And from your investigation and attempts to locate the body cam, is it a matter of a patrol officer not marking it for retention? Or
what do you mean?
Not designating that his body cam or
it should have been tagged indefinitely. Anything that has to do with the murder, we tag indefinitely. That's one of the last options that there are. It should have been retagged.
Now, do you, as a detective, have the ability to delete body cam on
No.
a Metro system?
No, not at all.
And do you get to control the retention policy?
No, it's an automated thing that the vendor has worked out with our police department of how long it's going to retain for.
Okay. And after it was discovered that this body cam from the patrol stop on the 7th had been deleted, are you aware of attempts within the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to recover it anyway?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I personally spoke to a sergeant in the body cam section. More phone calls kept being made until I want to say like our undersheriff was involved, and he was calling one of the top people in the company that our vendor that stores our body cameras, trying to see if they can pull that back, if they can recover it.
So it went all the way up to kind of right under Sheriff McMahill to attempt to recover this one portion of body cam in this entire case from September the 7th?
Yes.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as stage proposed 371. Do you recognize what that document is?
Yes, it's the audit trail for the body camera.
Okay. And is it a record kept that tells you basically when body cam was downloaded and when it was deleted by the system, and then an audit trail being sort of looking at when the body cam was downloaded or deleted?
Yes.
Statement to admit 371.
No objection.
I'd like to publish. This will be page 2. And sort of right in the middle of the page here, it says 9/7/23 system queued for deletion.
Correct.
And above that, it has different entries where it has officers' names and badge numbers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So on 9/7, the system, meaning the computer or the I guess the storage mechanism, queued this item for deletion. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then after that, there's a bunch of people logging on to try to figure out the audit trail on it. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Fair to say you had nothing to do with this portion of deleted body cam?
No.
And then also, I think we talked about this on direct examination, regardless of what that portion of body cam was, where Mr. Tellis dealt with the patrol officer, that patrol officer and all of the patrol officers involved in the traffic stop are known. They're in reports.
Yes, and they're on CAD.
And you recorded your conversations with Mr. Tellis from the time you got there until basically he's dropped off back at his house.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Yes, thank you.
There's some more random questions from the defense.
If I could turn your attention to, and it's in States Exhibit 371. I may publish this.
Yes, absolutely.
We're looking May 2023 here.
Yes.
Evidence record accessed. You see that?
Yes, I see that.
So obviously we have someone accessing this information, fair to say.
That's what the log says. I don't know this P.O. Osborne.
Okay.
So I couldn't say what that entry specifically is about.
But we have it being evidence record accessed prior to its being destroyed, correct?
Several months prior, yes.
But nonetheless, it was erased, destroyed, whatever verb you want to use. It's gone, correct?
I like overwritten.
Overwritten.
That's kind of how, when we try to pull video cameras from houses.
All right, but obviously this isn't some civilian's house. This is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir.
This involves a stop of a murder suspect in preparation for the execution of a warrant, correct?
That's correct.
There's multiple requests made by the defendant, a court order issued on July 18th, 2023, but nonetheless it goes away, correct? Whether we want to say destroyed or overwritten, it goes away.
The video is not available at this time, correct?
Yes. And finally, you were asked by the state concerning Detective Jappy's involvement. You said after September 7th he was not involved?
Not to my recollection. He didn't write any search warrants. He didn't do any further surveillances.
I told you today that we heard from a crime scene analyst, Baxter, and she testified on September 8th Detective Jappy was present and that he was taking photographs and taking his own evidence.
So 2 parts. Yes, he was present at the PA's office. I forgot about that. I don't recall him taking his own evidence, so that would be, I can't testify to that. But yes, he was at the PA's office on September 8th.
And obviously it's a crime scene analyst's job to collect evidence, correct?
Yes.
It's their job, but to be sensitive to that subject matter, fair to say?
Yes.
And if we had a crime scene analyst state that he was there taking photographs and taking evidence on his own, do you have any reason to disagree with her?
I can't talk about that. I can't, how do I say it? I didn't see Jappy taking evidence on his own.
Thank you.
So I can't, I'm not going to disagree with the CSA, of course, but I can't say that I saw that myself.
Okay, so there's things that can occur that you don't see or that you don't know of,
yes, right? That is unbeknownst to me.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
You're welcome.
There's that probable
Are you
reasonable
aware
doubt
of whether or not Detective Jappy was conducting his own investigation, actually 2 separate investigations around the same time period?
Yes.
And did the investigations involve the public administrator's office, and one of them, Mr. Tellis, was a target?
Yes, ma'am.
So he could have been at the public administrator's office doing his own investigation, is that fair?
Yes.
And he wasn't really working with you guys, I assume, on the 8th when you're at the PA's office. He was doing his own work?
I recall him being there at the PA's office, but no, when I was gathering evidence like computers and such, I don't remember him being like right there or.
Yeah. And he could have been doing investigation concerning
his investigation.
His
yes.
2 separate investigations that involved Mr. Tellis.
Correct.
Thank you.
Just briefly, so fair to say you didn't know what basically what Detective Jappy was doing because you weren't with him all the time, correct? regardless of crime scenes, things like that, he could be doing his own thing. Fair to say?
Yes.
No further questions.
Nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down and your excuse and your
Are we going to get another witness tonight?
being here. Does the state have any further witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we do have one exhibit that I believe we're going to have a stipulation to. The defense just wants to review it, but
She wants all her
subject
free
to
water.
just checking the evidence. This is our final witness, and we'd rest.
Wow. State rests.
Yeah.
Detective.
Why does it say plaintiff on the prosecutor's
Can we just
table?
have the attorneys approach her moment?
Yes.
Does that bug anybody but me? Is there not a difference between a plaintiff and a prosecutor? Plaintiff is civil. Plaintiff is civil. This is what I'm saying. Plaintiff's usually in civil law. This is criminal. Plaintiff is in litigation. It's a subtle difference, but I think there is a difference that should be recognized. Is he in custody? Yes, he is. He's held on a huge bond, I believe. Somebody Google it for me. Why do they call the prosecutor plaintiff in a criminal trial in Las Vegas? Little scheduling sidebar. Prosecutors represent the state when the state is the plaintiff.
This time, and the state and the defense are going to stipulate to Exhibit 368 to 370?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct. It's my understanding the state is correct.
That's correct, subject to that one last exhibit.
Okay, so at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to conclude for the day. We're going to start tomorrow morning at 10:30. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, call, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media. Read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case. Do any research, consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials. Do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case until it's finally submitted
She has
to
a
you.
bucket of
Thank you
pens
very
next
much,
to
and
her.
we'll see you tomorrow morning. 10:30.
10:30. All right. That is where we end it today. The state is rested. I guess we could say, have they proven their case for you? Have they proven their case? Because this is the end of the evidence that's been brought in. Let's see if we can. 8. No, I got to go back to SuperSource. Yeah, they're done. I just see a thing on the wall right now. All right. Let's check in with chat here to see what we say. No, have not proven their case. The owner of this live stream is the best. Thank you, sample user. Yes, 100%, says Ireland's Princess. Start time is 1:30 Eastern time tomorrow. Tisha, hi, how are you doing? Welcome. So much video evidence. A ton. More video evidence than the next trial we see that has this much video evidence is going to be Brian Koberger. And the video evidence we have there is not even as relevant as what we have here. I think I do want to, because I do have some time, I think once we end for today, I'm going to try to go back and put together a side-by-side gait comparison with Mr. Tellis in his office walking and on the attacker walking, and see if we can flip it around and overlay it and see how it works. I'll see what I can do there. But to do that, I need to not be on the air. Does that make sense? Because I've got to copy and record and copy and things like that, and I need all the feeds. State proved their case, in my opinion. How many witnesses does defense have? I don't know, but it was slated to be 2 weeks. We're in week 2 right now, so defense should be resting before the end of this week, is my guess. Poll on directed verdict. We could. I'll see if I can do that. Let me work on that tonight. Is that fair? And then we'll try it for tomorrow. I've got to find the right videos. I think today we had a good video that could be used for gate comparison. I think that's the only one we have. The other things that might exist out there are possibly any old videos from his election campaign, where he might have filmed himself walking, or he might have been featured walking somewhere. If you guys see anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll use the videos that have been brought in from the RJ and from the canvas of the neighborhood. We'll use those too. But if you guys know of any other videos, let me know, because that's not. It would be best if we had a lot of different videos to go through. Missed today due to doctor. What part of trial had DNA? Was that Friday or was that Thursday? One of the two. It's plaintiff both in criminal and civil, but criminal is more common to say the state or the government or Commonwealth, whatever the case may be. I thought that plaintiff was sort of reserved for civil. But yes, it is the gate. Simple user, you're right. Will he take the stand? Will he fire his lawyer and go pro se for the last half? Things can happen here. It's crazy. His phone info put it over the edge for me, like 100%, Sister Ann. Have a good night, Myron. Thank you very much. Plaintiff is the accusing party. Only half of you hit the like button. I guess half of you didn't like it. It's fine. It's fine. I accept your criticism. Yes, Google agrees with me, says Martha. Good. If Google's on my side, I must be at least partially right. What is his defense? I can never sort through. Babs, this is funny. The defense from the defendant is, it wasn't me. I'm being framed. And so with that allegation, it is their belief that all evidence that points to him was manufactured or fabricated. That's a lot. We've got a lot of evidence. Just looking at this, what we've seen so far, and I guess the state's arrested, so we've seen all the evidence. But we have motive. Okay, I don't think we need motive, but we have motive because there's bad blood between the reporter and Mr. Tellis. We have the gait that matches of the assailant. We have the vehicle the assailant used matches what Mr. Tellis used, plus it drove back to his community, to and from his community. We have Mr. Tellis's DNA under the fingernail clippings of the victim in this case. We have all the conversations and emails that went on. There's nothing really that points to anyone else other than these two voicemails that Mr. Germain received, that somebody was mad at him, and those were months or possibly even years before. But the guy who swore a lot and the guy who swore a little, they're basically, the defense is saying, see, that's the guy. But why would they have it? It doesn't stand to reason. Why would they frame him for it? And how would they do it so effectively by taking his phone, by his I mean Mr. Tellis's phone, and using it to capture images of Mr. Germain's house, like 150 of them, and 150 images of the cars that travel on the street that Mr. Germain travels on. Why do we have all that? As far as the vehicles themselves, the cars, we know that after the crime was committed, just in time frame, crime happened, not necessarily Mr. Tellis, but after that happened, Mr. Tellis watched all three of his vehicles himself by hand. Instead of taking them, he's got a Beamer, a Yukon XL, nice cars. He washes them by hand, and that's cool. Some people do that. They're my babies. I wouldn't trust them to a auto, a car wash. But he washes all three vehicles. We know that his phone was mysteriously silent and still in his house during the time of the murder, the attack, and then started moving again once that vehicle went back to his neighborhood. So it's crazy. But they're saying it wasn't me. I've been framed. All that evidence had to have been fabricated. The DNA evidence had to have been planted. The cut up shoes with blood on them. Okay, I don't remember if it was the defendant's blood or the victim's blood on them, but those were found in the defendant's house. The hat that matches what was worn in the video by the assailant was found cut up in the defendant's house or in his garage. The bag that the assailant carried, or a matching one to it, was found in the defendant's garage with a couple, like a soccer ball and a football, or basketball and a football or something in it. There's a lot of evidence that seems to point one direction. Not to mention there's an injury on Mr. Tellis's finger, which looks like some sort of a cut, and a pretty nasty one. But anyway, that's where we leave it. And I guess starting tomorrow, defense is going to take over. I don't know where they're going to go with this, but it's going to be wild. It's got to be crazy. I don't think they have the luxury of being able to say the state didn't prove their case, we rest as well, and just turn it over to the jury and ask for a directed verdict. I don't think they can do that. And I don't think Mr. Tellis will do that. I think his nature is that he will probably want to speak to this. There's a lot of beef he's got with a lot of people, and I think he wants to bring it out. And he can only do that if he takes the stand. So I'm leaning probably 75% that he's taking the stand. The bathtub, the bathtub was him self-harm after his first arrest and right before his second arrest. A little standoff. Had to send the drone and the robot in to get him out. He's definitely taking a stand, says Tish. Oh, yeah. It's happening. You can count on it. All right. That brings us to the close of testimony day 4, day 6 of the trial, including the jury selection. We're going to start day 5 tomorrow. We'll do court hopping in the morning, much like this one, because the way the court works in Nevada is they work their regular docket first thing in the morning, and then they work for about an hour before lunch, and then a couple hours after, and that's about it. So it's short days in Nevada. I wish I had their schedule. I do. I love it. All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make their day just a little bit better. Please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning, bright and early. Remember, we did cover the Ashley Benefield stuff this morning. If you want to hear that read by a very sleepy Scott, you can go and listen to that. That was on the morning stream. Did a little bit of court hopping. Nothing super exciting yet, but we'll keep an eye out for our favorite courts and see if something happens. No Cedric Simpson today. Didn't see him. He might be back tomorrow. Was the clothing planted at his house? Apparently. The shoes, the hat, the bag. Yeah, all planted. It's a big conspiracy, and everybody's involved but him. All right, good night. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you guys in the morning. Bye-bye. I'm going to leave you with the clouds. There we go. Almost looks like a fire, but it's not. It's